Broadcasting from their world headquarters in Texas, it's the Arcade Repair Tips Live Show, the show that discusses arcade repair, restoration, news, and more. Now, here are your hosts, Tim and Jonathan.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 48 of the Arcade Repair Tips Live Show for February 2021. My name is Jonathan Leung. I'm the producer, director, and editor of the Arcade Repair Tips video series. And joining me today, as always, is Mr. Arcade Repair Tips himself, Tim Peterson. Tim, how you doing? Oh, hang on a second. Okay. Tim, how are you doing? Sorry, I had your mic muted.
I'm doing okay. Much better than earlier this week.
Yeah, you were telling me you weren't feeling good, right?
Yeah, I did. I thought I had to get a COVID test because I had some symptoms, but it turned out to be pretty common for me this time of year. I had a sinus infection, so I did. But I am battling that, and I feel like I'm on the downward trend.
That's good. Well, I'm glad that things are looking up and that you're feeling better. But we're glad that you could be here for the live show, as we're glad of everybody who's here in the live show with us, Tim. And we've got already several people in the live chat, Tim. And for those of you guys who are watching live, of course, you can interact with us during the show via the live chat. And Tim, we've got Shingo Yabuki here. He says hello. We've got Mr. Dwayne79 is here. The Real Hammer Billy Lee, Tim, is here. And Regzer Show is here as well. And it looks like he has a question that we'll get to in just a bit. But Tim, anything else you want to update us on before we move on with the show?
Well, you may notice I'm at the movies today, John. And, we'll talk about that a little bit in the live show. It's been kind of a crazy month, both good and bad. And so just been, just when we thought 2020 was over, 2021 said, hold my beer. I'll show you stuff. So just seems like every day you just kind of got to roll with the punches, right?
Right. And, it's funny that you're at a movie theater, Tim, because I think most of them are closed right now. So you may be one of the only people at a movie theater right now. But anyway, guys, we want to thank you guys for joining us. Now, Tim, we had something that came to light just about a week ago, I guess. And I'm going to hit this right up front just because it seems like the right thing to do. But if you guys follow us on social media, you may have seen a post that our longtime social media contributor and live chat moderator, Louis Grubbs, passed away, Tim. And I think it was really just, it caught us all off guard, just a very sudden thing. It happened, for you guys who are curious, it happened on Christmas Eve. He suffered a massive stroke, Tim, and then he died 4 days later. And Tim, we didn't find out about it for so long because, we thought with the holidays and everything, Louis may just be busy. We didn't really hear from him. And Tim, we should mention we don't always talk to him. We maybe talk to him, 2 or 3 times a month. And we all get busy around the holidays. Tim, I didn't even talk to you until after the first of the year. So, right. And we had communication with him on December 22nd, which was just, basically 2 days before it all happened. And Tim, you may also remember that he had a Led Zeppelin, I think it was premium edition on pre-order as well. So, he was looking to be around for a while, obviously, and that just didn't work out. And Tim, just very saddened by this news. And, we're really going to miss Louis. He was a big part of this. Tim, he helped come up with the live show concept and helped with some of the troubleshooting that we did on some of the early episodes and things. And I can definitely say that if it wasn't for Louis' contributions, that the live show wouldn't be what it is today. We definitely wouldn't have been able to work all that out. And so we just want to say thank you to Louis, and that we're going to miss him. And Tim, I'll let you chime in with anything that you've got.
Yeah, of course, this is the part, John, we said would be really hard on both of us because as we miss him as a friend. And, we're not immune to this business. Is not immune to anything like that. And it was just shocking, just still kind of surreal. Just doesn't seem like that it, we wondered why he wasn't in the chat last time. We thought, well, maybe he was just busy. Sometimes he would get on projects with his work and be gone or be kind of overwhelmed with work. And, to kind of, I guess, find out just like we did and to not even really be there for his girlfriend or his mom. We want to extend our deepest condolences to his family. This is a hobby for us where we have made some really good friends, and unfortunately it's not the first person, John, that as we all get older that we've seen that's passed away, that we can think of several in our local area and an extended family here in Texas, and now to deal with this. So we just really would like to say how much we did appreciate him, and and I'll be honest, I look forward to playing pinball again with him one day. I know he was such a great guy, and I know where he is. I know where his heart was, and helping people like we are, John. He just seemed to fit our team really well, and so guys, if we muddle through this a little bit today, sorry. I hope that you'll all be understanding. Some things are bigger than games and pinball, but it's what brought us together, and so we were very fortunate to have Jonathan. You got to meet Louis in person, and to have known him, and to share these few years that he helped us here with Arcade Repair Tips. But you did get to meet him, John, and maybe you want to tell a little bit about that story.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to put this slide up here, Tim. We kind of made in I guess, memory of Louis, but that's just me. Sorry, guys. Here we go. But we first talked to Louis when he posted a question on our Facebook page in June 2011, Tim, almost 10 years ago. And in the summer of 2015, Louis did help us do some research on an arcade that was using emulation-based arcade cabinets, and he helped kind of get together some of the research for us, which we greatly appreciate. And then we interviewed him about that arcade on the Question and Answer podcast, Tim, back when we used to do that on episode 52, which you can still listen to on our website. Shortly after that, Louis accepted a social media contributor position with us, and Louis was instrumental, as I mentioned earlier, in getting the live show kicked off and was a moderator in the live chat, many of you guys know, for many episodes. We will miss you, buddy, and rest in peace, Louis. And Tim, yeah, this photo was taken of me and Louis in July of 2016, and we had been talking, obviously, for a long time. But Tim, he lived on the beach, which I always thought was the coolest thing, and I always wanted to live on the beach. And I was there on vacation, and me and him met up at a local establishment, kind of hung out for a little bit, and it was great just to hang out with him. He was a really fun person to hang out with, and golly, he had so much input, guys, on all of the stuff that we do here, and it's just not going to be the same without him. And so Tim, I'm getting a little emotional here. Sorry about that, guys, and I think, Tim, you are too. But, it's hard not to. Yeah, it's hard not to. Guys, I felt like, Tim, 2020 was done and that we could move on. And then we found out about this, and it was just like the biggest gut punch I'd ever taken. And Tim, I've trained martial arts. I've taken hits. But Tim, nothing hit me as hard as this did for some reason, and it sucks, and we're gonna miss him a bunch.
Well, and I think it reiterates, John, that once this virus is over, I really, really do want to get us to traveling some more, maybe going to more shows, because you never know. Those times when we get to hang out on the weekend with our buddies and our listeners and friends and contributors and things, and even just parts manufacturers and stuff. We're just not guaranteed a tomorrow, so just want to encourage everybody to live life to its fullest. And when you do get a chance to travel, and then on the opposite, I would say let stuff go. Don't hold a grudge. Don't let something eat you up. Go one day with a clean conscience and a good heart, like Louis did. And I think he entered heaven's gates with open arms, and I really do appreciate him and look forward to seeing him again one day. But also, I'm thankful for those memories and for those times and the things that we were able to do. And I look forward to meeting more of you guys. A lot of you are here every month. I would love to meet y'all one day before my time is called. So by all means, live life to the fullest. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your kids. Travel when you can. Don't leave nothing left on the table.
Agree, Tim. And I will say that Louis lived a life that I want to live. I want to live on the beach and just be able to kick back a cold one on the beach every night at sunset, and hopefully I get to do that just like Louis did. He definitely lived his life, and we're gonna miss our buddy. But man, he was a good dude, and he did a lot of great things, not just here, but just everywhere. He brightened people's day, and we're gonna miss him. But Tim, we talked about this. You've been in contact with his girlfriend, who's also been in contact with his mom. And we're going to donate $100 out of the Arcade Repair Tips Fund to his family. And Tim, you said you're going to donate $50 of your own money, correct?
Yeah.
And so we're just going to ask right now if you guys are interested in donating to the memorial that we're sending to Louie's family. You can go to arcaderepairtips.com/donate. And Tim, just put your money in there. And then there's an option like to designate what that money is for. Make sure you put Louie Memorial as the reason, so that way we know to give it to him. And so to his memorial. So if you want to go to arcaderepairtips.com/donate. And then, like I said, you can put any amount of money, guys, $1 on up, and just make sure that you designate that it's for Louie Memorial whenever you donate that, and we'll make sure that it gets to his family. So, but Louie, we know you're looking down on us, bud, and we're going to try to make you proud down here with the live show. Sorry to be such a downer up front, Tim, but I really wanted to kind of get that out of the way so we could move on to the questions and things like that. So,
All right.
So anyway, guys, let me collect myself real quick, and we will move into questions. Now, Tim, we did have Rexer Show here. He says, hey, Jonathan, maybe one question on CRT arcade resolution, standard, medium, and different types and what they mean. I meant to email you this question. So, Tim, let's talk a little bit about the different arcade monitor resolutions real quick. So 15 kilohertz standard resolution is what we have on most games, correct?
Right.
So now, pretty much all of your classic games use that. There may be some exceptions in there. And then, Tim, we do have medium res games too, the 25 kilohertz, which are a little bit different. And Tim, remember, your monitor has to match your game. And so if your monitor doesn't match your game, what happens?
Well, you'll get like a triple screen, or you'll get some distorted picture or view, or may not work at all.
Right.
May not even come on.
Right. Now, some monitors are what we call tri-sync. Tim, you mentioned that before. Tri-sync are monitors that do a standard, medium, and then also VGA, which would like a 31 kilohertz resolution. And so there are tri-sync monitors. In fact, most of the 27-inch monitors that you see nowadays are going to be tri-sync monitors, which means that they'll take any of them. But typically, there's a switch on the board somewhere, Tim, to make that change, correct?
Yes. And it'd be a physical switch that you go over, or sometimes it may be, with some of the newer types, it could be a setting that you would go in and change an input setting.
Right. So, the difference is just the resolution size, basically. And so 15 kilohertz became a standard at some point, and it was just a standard that pretty much everybody used. But, Tim, when newer games came out, it seemed like they wanted to do a little bit higher than that, and so they kind of bumped up to 25. And then, of course, Tim, we have kind of our standard VGA-style resolutions at 31 kilohertz. And so, it just really depends on kind of like a resolution/refresh rate is really what it comes down to. Like the biggest point that we need to make about that is just make sure that your monitor matches your game. And so if your game is a standard resolution, make sure you've got a standard resolution monitor. So is that good? Did we cover everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll leave that there, Rexer, but if you have any other questions about that, you can shoot us an email or something to that effect, and we'll discuss it further. Let's see what else we have. Let's see. Joe Flores says Joe Tech is here. Danny Ransom says nice seeing you guys again. Hopefully you're doing okay. Let's see. GeekGlide08 says hello everybody. And let's see. And of course, a lot of people saying sorry for the loss and everything like that. And we appreciate that, guys. I wish we would have known sooner, like Tim mentioned. But we didn't think anything of it because, we don't always talk every day. And so, but I hadn't heard from him in a while. And so, I went to check on him, Tim, and that's when I found all the information about his passing. And so it was a real downer. And like I said, you guys know if you're here for the live show that he was always posting links and helping you guys out in the live chat. Louis did a lot of stuff for us, and he will be missed greatly. So, I was going to check here, Tim. But anyway, anything else, Tim, before we move on?
No, let's go ahead and get into this, the questions this time.
Sure. Well, the first one I have here, Tim, is from Mike. So let's take Mike's question real quick. He says, I've bought a 412-in-1 game board with 4 buttons, but if I can, I'd like to only hook up 3 buttons. Which wire do I leave off for the 4th button I'm not going to use? Thank you, Mike. So, Tim, 412-in-1 is basically like the upgraded version of the 60-in-1. I think a lot of people in the live chat will be familiar with this board. But Tim, he only wants to use 3 buttons on it. Which button does he need to, or which wire does he need to leave off in order to leave off that 4th button?
Well, I got the button 4, is like 1025. I'm looking at my chart on my wall. I know you have it on the slide too, Jonathan. But he just has to leave that wire disconnected, or he could actually wire it in with like a player one start button or something if he just wanted to have that. Because I think it's only a couple games that use it anyway, and he may not even worry about it. But if he just not hook up the wire from his pinout that goes to that button, he should be just fine. It won't hurt anything.
Yeah, and Tim, I have a 412-in-1 arcade that is located at the church I go to that I built, and I think I only have 2 buttons on it, Tim, and most of the games play pretty well with 2 buttons. There may only be a handful of games on that board that actually use 3 buttons, and the only game that most 412-in-1s have that use 4 buttons would be Vanguard. But Tim, I think they've been leaving that off the newer 412-in-1 boards just because they don't want people to have to install that 4th button.
Right.
So with that said, Tim, I'm going to go ahead and go to the slide because you pretty much covered what we talked about. According to the manual, the 4th button for each player should be wired to pin 25. Be sure to leave this wire disconnected and you should be in good shape. Tim, we like to bundle up the wires that we don't use and zip tie them so that way we can use them in case we need them later. Sometimes, Tim, we see this a lot with like the 60-in-1 where you may need like the 3rd button for some reason, and so you wire up a switch to it just so you can move through the test menu or whatever the case may be. And so you may need that later, so you may want to bundle it up just in case. It should be noted that the vast majority of games included on the 412-in-1 board do not use the 4th button like we mentioned. In fact, Vanguard is the only game that we know of that uses 4 buttons, and many versions of the 412-in-1 board no longer include this game for that reason. So, I mean, if your 412-in-1 board does not include Vanguard, Tim, you can pretty much leave that 4th button off and you're going to be fine, right?
Right. Shouldn't matter at all.
Sounds good. Tim, anything else for Mike's question here before we move on?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward. And a good question, though, because most of the time, like you said, but when you bundle them up, the only caution I would give is, let's say you have a metal to either cut the very end of the wire, or if you're going to leave the connector on it, make sure it's shielded or something, because all it has to do is touch a ground and it would activate that button or whatever. So just be careful when you're bundling your wires that they're not anywhere where they could touch something metal. Agreed.
So, you definitely want to cut the end of that wire like Tim mentioned. And as long as you do that, Tim, I think you'll be in good shape. Typically, wires that aren't stripped don't usually short. It's possible. But if you're really worried about it, you could always put a piece of electrical tape on it or something, correct?
Yeah. I would just put a little piece of tape or cut the wire straight. Even cutting the wire, sometimes you still can see the tip of the metal. And I've shorted out stuff from that very little tip hitting the wrong thing. So just be very careful with those wires.
Agreed. So hopefully that answers Mike's question there, Tim, about the 412-in-1. And Mike, if you have any other additional questions about that, please let us know. We'll try to help you out further. Tim, we have David W. on the live chat. He says, I just stumbled on you. Do you ever discuss pinball machines? We do sometimes. Tim, I actually have 2 pinball machines, and you've had several over your collecting career, correct?
Yes, and we would say that we're probably better at video games, but a lot of the stuff crosses over. Once you've learned to repair some kind of electronics, that a lot of that electromechanical pinball is not our area of expertise. I'm better when the digital age started, say 80s and up. That's most of the experience that we have. But we do have some experience, so if you have a question, we'll be glad to take it on or try to.
Yeah, and I currently have a Monopoly and an X-Men in my collection, Tim. Now, Tim, you've gone through several. What are some of the pinball machines you've owned in your time as the collector?
Let's see. I'll just look at all the ones that I really missed and wish I still had. That'll be a quick list. I missed the Hook that I had. My favorite one probably ever was Twister. And then, what other? I've had a Star Wars pin. I've had, a Close Encounters, Pinball Pool, Liberty Bell, which are older ones. What else have we had, Jonathan? I'm not thinking. I've had what was the Frankenstein one that we had?
I can't remember. Golly, it's been
Dracula?
I can't remember, but now I had a Sega Night Driving at one point. If you remember that,
Yeah.
I've had a Police Force, which was really fun. Actually, Police Force was really fun. And a lot of people don't know that was supposed to be a Batman pinball machine that they turned into a generic theme whenever they lost the Batman license. But Police Force was really fun. I enjoyed that game, Tim.
I had Stargate. Remember we played Stargate a lot.
Love Stargate, golly. And I saw that somebody had one for sale recently. I was like, man, Stargate was so much fun. And I know that Gottlieb system gets a lot of hate, Tim. I forget, is that system 12? Is that what it is? I can't remember.
Something like that. We always enjoyed.
Yeah, whatever
it,
that system had. It had a golf game too. Was it Teed Off or something like that? It had a whole bunch of different games in that system. Shack Attack was in that. I think Rescue 911. But that one was definitely the best of the bunch, and it was fun. And I know people like diss on it for the call outs and things, but I still enjoy it. So.
Oh, me too. We had the F-14 Tomcat. I'm starting to remember a lot of the pins now that have kind of come through the shop.
F-14 is a lot of fun. That's a Steve Ritchie game.
And Black Knight. Was one. I don't know. It seems like I had a Space Invaders at one
That's
time. That's right. Gosh, it's just they kind of come and go, and I don't know really why I haven't kept one as my favorite for years. I'll probably when AMC comes through, we're going to get some more.
Sounds good. I know you got your eye on that Guns N' Roses, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sounds good. Dave W says, thank you so much. I've got a few machines, older slot machines, even a pachinko machine. So he's got some. David, what do you got? Let us know. What pinball machines do you have? So, Baby Pack. Did you mention that? That's kind of a pinball machine.
Oh, yeah, we had a Baby Pack, that's for sure.
So,
see, like I said, the more I think, the more pins I can remember us having. We just, seems like I would always fix them and somebody would offer me top dollar for them, or I would get like 3 arcade games for the price of one pinball game.
Oh, Star Wars. Did you say Star Wars?
Yeah, I had a Star Wars.
Data East Star Wars. We should.
Yeah, Data East Star Wars.
As I'd say, we should be specific because there was a lot of Star Wars pins. So.
It seems like we had some more Gottlieb pins. I'm trying to think of all of them.
You say Close Encounters, right?
Yeah, we had a Close Encounters.
You had a lot. You had some more of that system, Pinball Pool.
We had pinball pools actually at one time.
Yeah, I was trying to think of all. I can't remember, but we worked on some. There's a video. The Cleaning a Pinball Machine video, Tim, features a Kiss pinball machine that we worked on, and it was not working when we got there. We don't show it in the video, but we actually had to. Rewire some of the cabinet in order to get it working. So.
Yeah.
That's somewhere in the behind the scenes footage I have. It'll come out after I die. So, but yeah, there was some wiring that we had to do that one. So, okay, let's see. Retro Ralph is here, Tim. He says, sorry for your guys' loss. That's very sad. It's been a while, but I think there's one option in the settings menu that might require the 4th button, but can't recall what it is. Yeah, and that's what I was thinking on the 412-in-1, Tim. There may be a setting that requires that 4th button in order to do it. So you may want to keep that around just so you can touch that 4th button to ground every so often and get that connected. Let's see. Ozzy is here. He says, I used to have a Superman Atari pinball wide body. I think that may have been a Steve Ritchie. I can't remember. Did he do Superman Atari?
Probably.
He did the Airborne Avenger. That was his first one, right?
Yeah.
So that was an Atari pinball machine. And I think Superman may be on his repertoire too, Tim. I'd have to go back and look. But let's see. Okay, I think we're caught up on the live chat, Tim. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to our next question from Jeff. And Jeff says, I have a Golden Tee 2005. I haven't looked inside the cabinet yet. The machine powers up and works great. The monitor is pretty weak from the start and gradually gets worse. By the second or third hole, it's really dim and fuzzy. Do you think a cap kit will work for it? Now, Tim, this question is where our title for this episode comes from. My golf game screen is pretty weak. So, but what do you think's going on here with Jeff's Golden Tee 2005? He's saying that it's pretty weak from the start, and then it gradually gets worse. Correct. So what do you think's going on with Jeff's monitor here?
I think he has probably a classic example of what a cap kit would fix normally, because as the capacitors are drying up and they're not producing the right amount of voltage and letting the power go through there like they should, then they are getting weaker and the screen is getting dimmer. In a real simplified way, yes, this would be probably what a cap kit was designed for, to get those new capacitors in there and bring that voltage back up to a level where it would really make your screen look good.
Yeah, Tim, and these newer style cabinets, I say newer style, I know it's 15 years old, 16 years old now, but a lot of these CRT monitors, Tim, were K74, 7500 Wells Garner monitors, and these monitors, Tim, I have one of these in my Blitz Showtime cabinet that had the exact same issue, Tim, and a cap kit really seemed to solve that, and so I am going to second your opinion on a cap kit. And I'll go ahead and throw up the slide here, Tim, so we can show everybody. From your description of the issue, a cap kit sounds like a great place to start. See our post on installing a cap kit for more information. Now, please let us know if you're not sure about the make model of your monitor chassis that's currently installed in your cabinet, and we'll try to help you identify it. Now, again, just a quick note, Tim. Again, his monitor is probably a newer style monitor, which means there's probably quite a few caps he'll need to replace. As I mentioned, if it's a K7400, 7500 series Wells Garner, then you're probably going to end up replacing 40 plus caps, which is about double what you would find on a G07, correct?
Right.
And so that's something to keep in mind. And Tim, that to me, that all that means is that's double the mistakes you can make when you're checking your polarities. So so make sure that you double check all of your polarities when you're putting these caps in. Putting one in backwards is not a good thing and will ultimately lead to some bad news, right, Tim?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, and we know from experience. So.
Yes, we do. But the main thing is that but I do really feel for a few, for under $20 he can fix it. So it's worth it. Just make sure you take your time, that you are watching the polarities really close.
Agreed, Tim. And it's not hard. It's just, it is kind of a laborious process, though. And you have to be very, very focused. Tim, I have a rule that I don't do cap kits when I'm tired. Which means I never do cap kits. No, I'm just kidding. But if you're tired when you're doing them, you're much more prone to make a mistake. So I used to work on games late at night, Tim. I try to avoid that now, just because I feel like if I do that, I probably will be more prone to mistakes. So.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed when we did one together, John, because sometimes we were just about to do it, and you were like, "Hey, it's backwards" or something. So sometimes a second hand or just having someone to talk to when one of those big cap kit projects helps a little bit.
Agreed. A second set of eyes is always good to have. So good advice for Jeff here, Tim, and we wish him luck on his cap kit. And Jeff, if you continue to have problems after the cap kit, please let us know, and we'll try to give you some more advice on how to fix that monitor. Tim, we have Retro Ralph in here. He said, just wanted to let you guys know I used one of your older videos to learn how to use a CRT rejuvenator, and it really gave me the confidence to do it. You guys are the best. Retro Ralph, that means so much to us. And Tim, if you haven't been to Retro Ralph's YouTube channel, you should go there. He's got some great videos. And Regzer Show's here tonight too, Tim, as you know, and he also has some great videos. Guys, there are a lot of great YouTubers that not only cover arcade stuff, but cover, emulation and other parts of the arcade space. And so if you haven't checked out the Regzer Show and Retro Ralph on YouTube, you guys should definitely do that. 2 channels that are definitely worth your time. So okay, Tim, I think we're caught up in the live chat now, so I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next question from Burmy Games. And he says, I have a problem in a Waya chassis. Waya. I always forget how to pronounce that, Tim. How would you say it?
I call it Waya. That's what I've said, but I don't know if it's correct.
Exactly. So I have this problem in a Waya chassis. The B plus voltage is very high at 247 volts. The input in the vertical should be 24 and I have 34. Can you give me an idea where to see or what is causing this problem? Can you give me an idea where to look maybe or what is causing this problem? So Tim, as you probably guessed, this is a monitor question, and while we're okay with those, we have a guy, Tim, that's a lot better at these than we are, and that is our monitor guru, Michael, and he was kind enough, Tim, to send in a video from Burmy Games kind of describing the problem and giving his response to it. So we're going to let Michael take it from here. We'll come back with a summary of what he said.
Hey everyone, Michael back. This month we have Burmy Games. I sure hope I pronounced that right. He has a issue with his B plus voltage. It's running around 247 volts, definitely high. He also said the input voltage on his vertical IC is about 10 volts higher at 34 volts when it should be around 24 volts. I bet if you compare most of the other voltages around the board, they're all going to be higher than they should. Usually the chassis have a built-in circuit that will put it into shutdown when voltages get high. And sometimes you'll know that the chassis will actually start chirping at you to let you know that it's in shutdown. Sometimes not, but some of the newer ones especially will. The three major causes for this. Number one is cold solder joints. Look around the board, especially on the bigger components, and make sure you don't have a cracked solder joint somewhere on them. But check all your components, but usually the bigger components tend to fail quicker than the little ones. But just double check all your solder on the board and make sure there's nothing that looks suspect there. Next, check capacitors on the B plus line and in the power supply. There might be one, especially if the monitor has a feedback circuit. One of those could have opened up. And pay more attention to your 50 volt, 35 volt caps, and make sure they're not open. If you have access to an ESR meter, that's great. Check all of them. It might be a good time just to do a full-blown cap kit, but bear in mind not all cap kits come with every cap that's on the board, so make sure you check all the ones in your power circuit regardless. And the third and probably the most common issue is that you've lost the load to the power supply and the power supply is running wide open, causing the higher voltage than it should. In order for the power supply to work correctly, it actually has to have a load on it. Like on Ohm's law, your voltage equals resistance times current, and when you lose your resistance, you don't get correct voltages. Usually, the more common issue with this scenario is when a flyback goes bad. It'll actually open up a resistor on the board, usually a standoff resistor, or it'll take out the horizontal out transistor, and then it will take out a resistor to help protect the rest of the board. Start looking for the open resistors in that area. If you have standoff resistors, which are the white ceramic resistors with the metal legs on them and they stand up a little bit off the board, those are usually real low ohm resistors, so check those. It should be fine in circuit, and make sure there's still a real low ohm reading. If you get a high reading on those, they're probably opened up. And then check your horizontal out transistor, make sure it's still good, and just start looking for something that's open, usually a resistor somewhere that's open. There is a way to put a load on your power supply with a light bulb. I used to do that before. That will help you if you have another issue somewhere. That will help you not blow out new parts right away if there's another issue going on. There are YouTube videos, I believe, showing you how to do that. You can sub in a light bulb, a 95 watt light bulb, so that light bulb will actually put a load on the power supply, and you're able to check voltages and stuff like that safely. So I hope this helps. I haven't actually looked at a schematic of this chassis, but maybe a little bit more detail, and if from you would help, and if you can't get it going, let us know and we'll dig a little deeper and definitely get you going. I used to see it all the time, but unfortunately with this problem there are a couple of things that can cause it. But hope this helps. Until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.
Okay, Tim, we're back, and Michael sent in that video, Tim, and usually he's in in his little gaming room where he's got all of his accessories and things, and this time he was just basically in his car, and that's because I believe he's actually working somewhere on some oil rig stuff, and so not able to be at home, but we still appreciate him taking the time to answer Burmy Game's question. Now, Tim, we'll go ahead and do a summary of what Michael talked about in the video, just so everybody can kind of see it here. But as Michael mentions here, there are three main causes of this issue. The first is cold solder joints, and Tim, you've mentioned this before. Something that Michael always does when he takes a monitor chassis out is typically he'll go ahead and touch up all the solder joints, correct?
The very first thing.
And so you'll need to double check all your solder joints, especially the ones on the larger components, which was something he specifically said, and touch up all those solder joints as needed. Now, next, you're going to want to check all of the caps on the B plus voltage line and in the power supply. Pay specifically close attention to your 35 volt to 50 volt caps, anything in that range, and make sure that they are not open, Tim, because stuff like that can definitely cause that kind of power issue that he's having. And finally, and he actually calls this one the most common problem, is that the power supply does not have the load on it, and so basically that could be caused by open resistors in the power supply section. So This can be caused, Tim, because the flyback or the hot went bad, and so maybe it caused the resistor to blow, or it could just be that the resistor itself just blew. And so he recommends looking for these resistors in the power supply section and replace them as needed. Do a test on them, see if they're still working, and if they are, that's fine. If they're not, replace them as needed. Tim, do you have anything else to add to Michael's response here to Burmy Games about his issue?
Oh, no, I ain't added nothing to that. Oh, Mike, that definitely shows the difference, guys, in like us, where we've done a lot of motor repairs, but taking it to that advanced level. And sometimes we have to know when we're out, and we need to. And so he needs to look at those things, but it may be where he needs to send his chassis in if he doesn't. If any of that sounds great to him, it might be a good time to have it professionally repaired.
Agreed. And Tim, these Waya chassis, a lot of people get them because they're the universal chassis that we recommend sometimes as kind of like a universal replacement is usually that Waya chassis, correct?
Correct.
And so, you may have one of these because somebody did a quick replace on their monitor whenever it went down for some reason. They didn't want to repair the original chassis, so they threw one of these in there in order to get the game working or whatever the case may be. They're not the most friendly chassis to work on, Tim, but with Michael's tips, hopefully you can get your monitor chassis back up and running. So Burmy Games hopefully answers your question, and good luck with your repair. Now, Tim, we have Danny Ransom in the live chat. He says, I talked to you guys last show about my Final Lap 2 having a monitor problems, and the other side played perfect, so I switched the boards around, and it played perfect, and it turns out I had a bad VGA converter board. And he says, thank you, guys. And, Tim, we mentioned this with 60-in-1 boards a lot, but it also applies to the video converter boards as well. It seems like these things are super cheaply made. Now, that's a good thing in a way, because that means that they're also cheap to purchase, but at the same time, it also means that the components and the solder and all that kind of stuff that's on the board, it's not always up to the best quality, right, Tim?
I think so. What I seem to notice during that era, John, when we kind of switched to having video cards, it seemed like they were always they must have went in and bought out somebody's stock. Like, they were always buying last year's product or the year before's. So even by the time they went brand new in a game, it seems like there were more advanced places and things. And so we go through a ton of video cards, and then you got to where you couldn't even hardly get them anymore.
Right. Now, the Gambas 8200, 8220 series are still available out there. Those are the ones that are probably the most common, Tim. Those are the ones that allow you to use a VGA monitor with an arcade game, and that's the one most people use. Tim, we really don't recommend these anymore. Part of the reason is because, yes, you have problems with them, but the other part is because now they make monitors that support, they make LCD monitors that support standard resolution, correct? Right. And so, like, we have several, Tim, that you can hook directly up. You don't have to have a converter board. And we think that those perform better as a whole than using a video converter with a VGA card. Not to say that that's our VGA monitor. Not to say that's a bad way to hook it up. It'll still work like that. But we just found in our testing that the monitors with the built-in standard resolution support are better than going the converter and VGA monitor route, correct? So there you go. But we're glad you got your game up, Danny, and please keep us posted if you have any more issues with it. Okay, Tim, let us move on to Chuck's question, and here we go. Hello, I saw your video about the JAMA Upgrade 60-in-1 kit for the Pac-Man Miss Pac-Man cabinet. I acquired a Miss Pac-Man from a friend. When you turn the game on, the music runs fast and the screen is messed up. It is shifted half a screen to the left and is now halfway on the right. I don't know what needs to be fixed, and I was thinking about the upgrade. Since your video is 7 years old, could you recommend a JAMA package and a replacement monitor if it needs to be changed? Also, I've heard there are places to get replacement decals or parts. Any information you could provide would be awesome. Thank you, Chuck. Now, Tim, here is Chuck, and he is looking at maybe possibly doing the 60-in-1 kit upgrade for Pac-Man Miss Pac-Man cabinets. Of course, we did that video like he mentioned 7 years ago, and JAMAboards.com is no longer in business. So, Tim, what hope does Chuck have for maybe still being able to get that kit?
Well, he's in a lot of hope because I just recently did a similar type repair myself. And the first thing I'm going to recommend is that, yes, you can get the kit from Mike's Arcade. And there's some good documentation. He sends some very, very, very good instructions that are easy to follow. You shouldn't have any problems, and it literally takes about 20 minutes to hook up. What I would encourage him to do is what I did. Before I went that route, I went ahead and fixed. I had a Miss Pac-Man game, and I went ahead and fixed all of it and got it working as a Miss Pac, and then I installed the kit. So I didn't use the kit as my fix. I kind of used it as an upgrade, and now we test stuff in it, JAMA boards and things like that we can do. But if you get that kit from him, even though it is 7 years old, like you said, I guess he acquired the rights to that board or whatever, and his instructions are very detailed and very good, very easy to follow. So you shouldn't have any problem. But you got some kind of board issue going on with it playing the music fast and all that stuff. So you may want to look at getting that fixed first, just because you can always keep it original if you go to sell it, which is kind of what's happened to me, John. I did convert it, but then somebody said, I really want a Miss Pac-Man. Looks like I'm fixing to sell it as a Miss Pac-Man.
Perfect.
So it's a good thing that I fixed that board and could give it to them as original as possible.
And Tim, we should mention we did a video on the upgrade kit from Mike's Arcade, and like you mentioned, the instructions are fantastic. Golly, those are some of the best instructions we've ever seen. Way better than the JAMA board's instructions from back in the day. But the Mike's Arcade instructions are very good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. Now, like you mentioned, Tim, we would probably we're probably going to recommend, though, if he can, maybe take a look at his board and see if he can fix that first. And so, Tim, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the slide here so we can give him some resources for that. And it looks like Chuck is here in the live show chat with us tonight. If you want to say hi, Tim.
Hey, Chuck.
So,
thanks for writing in. I hope that this really does help.
Yeah, and he said he got a kit delivered today. So I don't know which one you bought, Chuck, but please let us know if you bought the Mike's Arcade one, or if maybe you bought Hot Rod Arcade offers one now too, Tim. There's a couple of places. But Chuck, if you're looking at maybe fixing that board, here are some resources that will help you with your Miss Pac-Man cabinet troubleshooting. And Tim, the nice thing about Miss Pac-Man cabinets is that there are so many resources for for fixing them, because they're very common. They've been around a long time. So here are 3 links that we will recommend to you, Chuck, in case you are interested in maybe possibly fixing that Miss Pac-Man board. And Tim, of course, the first one's the Lawnmower Man Pac-Man page, which Tim's been around forever. It's got some great information. Next is the Mike's Arcade page on Pac troubleshooting, which has screens that you can compare yours to figure out which chips need to be replaced on your board. And then, Tim, Arcade Archive has a Pac-Man troubleshooting guide on their website that you can take a look at as well. So those 3 resources can definitely get you going in the right direction for sure. Chuck just replied, Tim, he got the Mike's Arcade kit.
Okay.
So you'll be very happy with that, Chuck. And he said he just got today. The instructions are wonderful. It should be super simple to install. If you have any questions about it, though, you can let us know. And Tim, that's what we mentioned here. Mike's Arcade has the very similar kit to the one JAMA Boards offers back in the day. Now, as far as replacing the monitor goes, make sure that you go with a commercial grade arcade quality LCD like the one that's available from Twisted Quarter or other arcade parts suppliers. And Tim, I have a picture of one here. Tim, we were talking about video converter boards and VGA monitors. You can go that route. But here's the thing. For longevity, for ease of hookup, for a lot of different reasons, going with the commercial grade arcade quality LCD is definitely the way to go, correct?
Yes, and I believe it's the one that, isn't it Twisted Quarter that offers the 22-inch one? There's one that I really am interested in myself because it's a little bit bigger, but it's not, I've already did the dimensions and stuff. It's not too huge for that cabinet. And it should fit in there, and I think that would be cool to have kind of the biggest monitor possible without it. I didn't really like the 25 inches that they used to put in them. Remember, John, like the reunion ones? They were almost too big, but then the 15-inch looked so small. So maybe that's an alternative. He'll look into that.
Absolutely. And I think he also mentioned something about artwork, Tim. And there's a lot of replacement decals, he says. Tim, there's a lot of places that offer replacement decals. We like GameOnGraphics.com is one of our favorites, Tim. What's the one that we used for years? Is it Phoenix Arcade?
Arcade and Arcade Shop. I mean, most of those guys use really good quality stuff.
So Game On Graphics, Phoenix Arcade, Arcade Shop, and those are all .com. So Game On Graphics with a GRAF IX, I believe is what it is. But if you do a search on Google, you'll find it. Game On Graphics. Then you also have Phoenix Arcade, Tim, which sells a lot of classic replacement artwork. And then we really do like what was the other one you mentioned, Tim? Arcade Shop, of course. We've been using Arcade Shop for years. Really like Arcade Shop. Can't recommend those three places enough. Really great places to get your artwork from. And if you need some more places, we have a whole list on our website at arcaderepairtips.com/resources. You can also find parts suppliers there, monitor repair guys there, board repair people there. Basically, all the resources you need to repair your games can be found at arcaderepairtips.com/resources. Tim, is there anything else you have for Chuck before we move on?
No, unless he has any more questions.
Oh, and the Real Hammer Billy Lee says Galloping Ghost Reproductions is a great place for reproduction artwork. And I had heard that they were doing it, Tim. Of course, Doc Mack, who runs the Galloping Ghost Arcade, they have so many cabinets, Tim, it makes sense for them to do their own artwork too, right? I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand. So if they're doing it, we haven't ordered anything from them, but I would trust their quality for sure. So... let's see. Rexer Show says Game On Graphics. He has a 20% off code for Game On Graphics, and it's in the live chat if you guys are watching. Rexer Show in coupon code 20% off for Game On Graphics. So that's really nice. Game On Graphics we've been using for a long time. Tim, we've been using them since they were back when they were Main Marquees. Remember that? Right. So they used to be Main Marquees, and now they're Game On Graphics, which I think is a better name overall. But they've been around a long time, guys. Great quality out of their stuff for sure. Okay, Tim, let us move to Lauren real quick. And Lauren says, and he sends a picture, Tim. You can see the picture here. He says,
I'm looking at it now.
Hello, I have watched some of your training videos and I appreciate them. I just purchased a used GOT Plus arcade game, and the right half of the screen is distorting into a V or W pattern. Do you think this can be adjusted using the screws on the boards, or adding magnets to the back of the monitor, or is it a circuit board failure issue? Appreciate your help, Lauren. So, Tim, we got Lauren here, and you can see the distinct pattern that he has on the right side of the screen there, Tim. Oh, sorry. I gotta get you back in here. Let's see. Where is he? There he is. You can see the distinct kind of V-W-shaped pattern that he has on the screen in that picture. Very distinct, Tim. What do you think's going on here? The three things he mentions are maybe the adjustments, maybe adding magnets to the back of the monitor, maybe circuit board failure. What do you think?
I think it's more of a chassis failure or a circuit board failure, as he called it. It'd be a good time for a cap kit, because you'll notice that it's kind of on the one side of the screen, and so I would definitely, and if it's a G07, I would probably do the curl fix on it. But I definitely think it looks like he has a chassis problem.
Yeah, I think so too. Obviously, magnets, Tim. A lot of times when we see magnets, that has more to do with discoloration. We'll see some discoloration on the monitor, and then we'll have to add some magnets and things in there. Sometimes you'll have to shim up the yoke, but typically that's more towards like a whole picture geometry, if that makes sense. Like maybe you have somewhat of a trapezoidal picture to where like one side's kind of sunken in, the other side is kind of further up towards you. You'll see stuff like that. That's more of a yoke adjustment issue. But in this particular case, I'm following with Tim. I'm saying monitor chassis issue. Tim, I think I've seen this before with G07 monitors. The curl/sync mod, Tim. I've seen it kind of looks like that a little bit on that right side of the monitor. And so I think that he definitely needs to check that out. And I'm going to go ahead and put the slide up here, Tim, since we've pretty much already discussed it here. But from your description and picture, it looks like you're having an issue with your monitor chassis, or circuit board, as he puts it. It's probably a problem in the high voltage section, HV as we call it, of the chassis. We recommend starting off this repair by installing a CAT kit. If your chassis is an Electro Home G07, and the only reason I say that, Tim, is because the age of this monitor just lends itself to, and being in a GOT Plus just kind of lends itself to a G07. If you've got that, let's do the sync and curl mod on it as well, because that's a very crucial mod for getting those kind of curls out. Tim, we had the similar issue on a main cabinet back in the day. I don't know if you remember that, but it did end up being a G07 that we had to do the sync curl mod to, right?
Yes, I remember that.
And Tim, I went ahead and put the link to the Bob Roberts Sync Curl mod on his site down below in the show notes. So if you're looking for that, you can check the show description for that link. Please note, another thing, Tim, is we did mention this is the high voltage section. Make sure that the cap kit that you get includes the filter cap for the monitor chassis. Since this looks to be an issue in the high voltage section, it's possible that your filter cap is either starting to go bad or has gone bad, Tim. And those do not usually come with cap kits, correct? And they're pretty big. Typically you'll have to order them separately. Tim, I looked up the Go7 one on Arcade Shop. They have it available. You can order it. But Syracuse Semiconductor, which is one of the places we recommend people get cap kits from, does have the cap kits with the filter cap in it, right?
The extra one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you can order the filter cap separately from somewhere like arcadeshop.com. They do offer it as well. But you might try replacing the filter cap in this particular instance because, Tim, we've seen a lot of monitor chassis with a little wave or wiggle in it that it turned out being a bad filter cap. So that's definitely something we'd recommend here, too. Now, Tim, Lauren did actually write back after I wrote the slide, and he said he did the Sync Curl mod, he did the cap kit, and he's pretty much got the problem fixed 95%. There's still a little bit of a wave on the side, but I kind of sent him the filter cap, suggestion as well. And so we'll see if he comes back with the filter, if he replaces the filter cap, and see if it gets that last little 5% bit of that curl out of there. So, and hopefully it will for you, Lauren. But if you have any additional questions, please let us know, and we'll try to help you out with your Go7 monitor. Now, Tim, if it seems like we're doing more questions tonight, it's because we are. We had some kind of come in at the last second, so I went ahead and threw them on the outline. So we actually have maybe one or two more than we normally would have. But, that's just more fun, right?
Sure.
Absolutely. So I think Louis would love it. I'm just saying. But anyway, guys, let's move to Brian's question here. And Brian says, so I bought an arcade game from the Coin Op store back in 2016. Apparently, they are now being charged with selling fake games. Anyway, the game worked great. It has over 64 games, and I really enjoyed it. Last week, I moved it from one room to another, and now nothing displays on the monitor. Tim, this already sounds like a very familiar story.
Yeah, one too often, too familiar.
Agreed. So the game starts up, and you can hear the noise of the game, but not see anything on the monitor. Any suggestions? Now, Tim, just a little bit of background on the Coin Op store stuff. They were one of the few arcade game sellers that uses the bootleg, like 60-in-1, 412-in-1 boards, and was selling them to customers. The problem was they were doing it basically in Namco's backyard, in the same area. Right. And so they got sued out of oblivion pretty quick, and so they are no longer around. Tim, we know a lot of people who do sell, these boards and haven't been in trouble, but you really can't do it like right underneath their nose. They're going to probably get you for that. And so Coin Op Store was doing that, and so they have now since gone out of business. Now, Tim, he says it was working great until he moved it, which again, this is it's kind of like what, different song, same story, or same story, different song, whatever the case may be. So it's just, we hear this a lot. So what do you think is going on with Brian's multicade cabinet here? What does he need to do in order to get it working?
Well, I'm not sure what kind of monitors they were running. I'm assuming since it's a newer game that probably has an LCD or something in it. And I had a similar instance not long ago where the game I sold, I got home, they said, well, it won't work at all now. And I actually was able to talk them through it over the phone, because anytime you move a game around, connections are real easy to come undone, and it really needs to check however his video is coming in and his power to his monitor to make sure. He does say it's playing. It's kind of a classic case if we talk about playing blind, but in this case, fortunately, in that being that newer of a game, it's probably just a bad connection issue. And so if he'll check if it's a VGA for sure, you can unconnect it, connect it back in, screw it back down, get it real good and tight. If it's some kind of wired connection, just make sure that all the connections are good. It's probably something really simple, or you just lost power, and your power to your monitor is just not coming on. We don't know if it's a LCD. He doesn't say, does he?
No, he doesn't. Not in the cabinet.
See, and it could, if it was a classic type monitor, you'd wonder if it had net glow, stuff like that. So a few more questions we would need to ask him. But however you get power and video to your monitor both, I would check those connections really good.
Sounds good, Tim. And Tim, this is a classic case of playing blind, and typically that'd be because with a CRT monitor because the monitor chassis has failed in some respect. But the fact that it was working before he moved it kind of lends us to think it's more of a connection issue, correct?
Yeah, that's the only difference is he moved a game, which we've had happen to us dozens of times, even in our own shop, just moving it from one side to another. Seems like something will jostle loose or come undone.
Agreed. So let me go ahead and put the slide here, Tim. We'll talk about it a little bit more. This sounds like a pretty classic case of playing blind, like I mentioned. With that said, it's probably more of a connection issue than a problem with your monitor. Start off by checking for the input and power wires going to your monitor. The connection between the monitor and the game board will typically use either a Molex style connector with several wires or a VGA style plug. Check those wires or that plug depending on what you have. Check the power going to the monitor like Tim mentioned. If all the connections are good, then it is possible that your monitor went out and you can either repair it or replace it at that point. If it's a CRT, of course, we have a nice video, Tim, on troubleshooting games that are playing blind. But if it's an LCD, it may be easier for you just to replace it. So, but more than likely, Tim, just a connection issue here for Brian. So hopefully he can figure out exactly what's going on and get back to playing his game. So, Brian, hopefully that answers your question. And good luck fixing your Coin Op Store monitor on your arcade cabinet. Now, Tim, we have a question in the live chat. I'm sorry, Ozzy, we didn't get to it earlier. But Ozzy says, are arcade CRT monitors with burn-in fixable? So I guess you're wondering if you can fix the burn-in. The bad news is you can't. This is something that just happens with age. Now, Tim, we have some tricks to hide that burn-in, correct?
Yeah. I mean, technically, I guess you could. If you had a phosphor gun and some stuff, it would cost more than you'd ever spend on another monitor. But one of the tricks that we like to use that works actually very well, once you've done a cap kit and you have very bright colors, is to put a piece of smoke plexi over it. A lot of Miss Pac-Man back in the day would have that smoke plexi over it, and it really does hide out the screen burn some. So you can kind of mask it or put a little makeup over it, if you will.
Now, Tim, we should mention that you have a tech tip coming up in just a couple of segments here that's going to help people in case they have burn-in on their pole position monitor, correct?
Right, which is a very common one. If you have a pole position game, it's original. You probably got that screen burn. We're going to talk about something that can help prevent that, or at least from getting any worse.
Exactly. So we'll talk about that in the Tim's Tech Tip segment real quick. Tim, I should also mention YouTube Punk is here tonight, but he was apparently delayed because he was watching the season finale of The Expanse, which I haven't watched The Expanse, but maybe we'll talk about it a little bit in the after show, right?
Yeah, okay.
Sounds good.
I'd be mad if I was losing out to The Bachelor.
There you go. Not losing out to The Bachelor, Tim. If we were a Monday night show, that may be the case. And it's bad that I even know what day it comes on, so... But anyway, so unfortunately no way to fix the screen burn, but you can do dark plexi. And Tim, we learned this trick, of course, from Miss Pac-Man cabinets. Miss Pac-Man cabinets usually have that piece of dark plexi, and if you've ever seen a Miss Pac-Man that's run for a while, I can almost guarantee you it'll have some Maze screen burn on it, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty common.
Most of it's classic.
Exactly. So... Tim, Danny chimes in. He says, I've got a Sega Gremlin arcade cabinet I turned into a Frogger, but doesn't have the original control panel. Wondering if they make repros of them. I'm not for sure on the Frogger. Tim, they definitely make a repro of the artwork. And so you may be able to strip down your control panel and put the artwork on it. But I don't know if you're looking for like an entire control panel. I don't know if you can find an entire one. Do you know?
No, I'm not offhand just because I haven't bought one, but I would assume somebody's probably made it. Or if nothing else, Danny, a lot of times they'll sell a blank one. Or you may even go to your local machine shop. If you've got one for them or some measurements, they can oftentimes build you one and cut the holes where you want. Believe it or not, kind of more reasonable than you think. A lot of times under $100.
Yeah, it's not bad at all, and especially if it's something you're going to keep in your collection, Tim. It's something this is a keeper, as we like to say. If it's a keeper for you, it may be worth getting it machine shopped and then slapping a brand new overlay on it and making it look like new. So but we don't know anybody offhand that would carry those in stock. But you can check with our normal parts suppliers, and one of them may have some. Tim, Arcade Shop has a lot of stuff like that, correct?
I was going to say, or Mike's Arcade, a lot of those guys have tons of control panels now that are blank or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody doesn't have it or carry it, but I don't know for a fact.
Sounds good. So, Danny, hopefully answers your question. Let us know if you do find a place. We'd like to know as well. So, Now, Tim, it's time for our rapid fire questions from YouTube, and we always like this one. We usually cover 3 back to back and do them very quickly, and this month we've got these 3. The first one is from CB, that's me, and he says, I cannot get the existing JAMA board removed. Is there a clip or something? I don't want to risk breaking it. There would be glue to hold it together though, right? That's what he's asking. Rich says, what are the best arcade joysticks that actually last a while? And then Catherine says, my screen has vertical lines and no sound. So, Tim, we've got CB, that's me, saying, I can't get this JAMA harness off my board. We've got Rich saying, what's the best arcade joystick that's actually going to last a while? And we have Catherine that's saying, my screen has vertical lines and no sound. So, Tim, let's take these one by one rapid fire style. CB, that's me, can't get the JAMA harness off. What can he do, Tim?
Well, there shouldn't be any clip. I have seen a clip before on like a redemption style game, but that's really rare. I've never seen it in a classic arcade game or anything. So there's no clip. You're just going to have to really pull on that thing. That's why those little end pieces are there for you to kind of use both hands and kind of pull up. You might have to take a flathead screwdriver or something and only on the end. That might give you a little more torque, or you could tap it with a hammer. I think you show in the picture a good diagram of where I'm talking about hitting, not anywhere else. But it'll come up. Then sometimes it just takes a little muscle. Now, you could probably spray some, like some good contact, like some board contact cleaner or something up in there. I don't know if that would help, a little WD-40 maybe, which would be okay on those pins. And you just wipe it off when you get it up and get it out of the way. That might help loosen it up a little bit.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't turn the game on, though, if you spray that stuff on the board, correct?
No, do not do that.
Okay, I want to make that sure. Disclaimer there. If you're going to spray something on the harness that's connected to your board, do not turn the game on after that point until you get the harness off. So,
right.
Rich was wondering, what's a good arcade joystick that lasts a long time, Tim?
Well, we like the Ultimate or Competition 8-way joysticks with a heavy spring, and that's the ones like Suso Hap or Besson carries them. We like those.
And Tim, this comes from years of route operating and you obviously working at Chuck E. Cheese. We found that the heavy spring ones just hold up better, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so and you can replace the spring yourself, Tim. Hap actually has, I think, a kit. So if you just buy a standard Ultimate or Competition 8-way, it does that. You can get the heavy spring to put up in there. But I believe they also make ones that have the heavy spring already installed, which is the ones we used to get. But Tim, obviously we had a lot of fighting games on route, and those are notoriously bad for, getting worn out. Because, obviously when you're doing quarter circle, half circle, 360 motions on a joystick, it kind of wears it out a little bit faster. And we found that the heavy spring ones will really last against that, right? We're talking about route operation getting played several times a day. Very rarely would we have to replace heavy spring joysticks. It would take years before we'd wear one out. So if you're using it in a home game room, it may last the rest of your life. So
yeah, we're talking about at least 5,000 plays a month, probably.
Exactly. And so yeah, if you've got a heavy spring one that you're using at your home arcade, more than likely it's going to last a long time for you. Okay, Tim, real quick, Catherine has kind of a more difficult question, I would say, in the fact that she's just got lines. She's saying she has lines, what was it again? Vertical lines and no sound. But she doesn't tell us which game, so we don't know that. Just vertical lines and no sound. What do you think's going on?
Well, it could be a board or a chassis issue, but more than likely, we got to start at power, so always start at power. Make sure that the voltage and everything is correct, because you will get that if you do not have enough power or the correct voltage going to it.
And I should say, Tim, when I think about this, sometimes I think maybe the board isn't getting power at all. Maybe what she's seeing is the raster lines, and that's why she's also not getting any sound. So it could be that your board itself is not getting the DC voltages that it needs, which may be your power supply not working, and which is why we're going to use the ASAP approach. Always start at power, and try that, check your voltages, see if they're good, and if they're not, replace it as needed. So, Tim, I'm going to go ahead and throw this slide up, but I think we pretty much hit everything at this point. CB, that's me. No, there shouldn't be any clip or glue holding it. However, JAMA harnesses can firmly hold on to a board, especially if they are new. Try using a flathead screwdriver on the outside edge of the harness and pulling up. That'll kind of give you a little bit more torque to hopefully get that off of there. So under those little clips on the outside. Tim, we have seen zip ties through those little clips on the outside of the harness as well. So make sure you don't have a zip tie there. It's rare, but we've seen it a couple of times. Rich, we like the Ultimate or Competition 8-way style joysticks with the heavy spring installed. You can purchase them from both Suzo, Hap, and Betson, or wherever fine arcade parts are supplied. And then we have Catherine. It may be your board, but let's use the ASAP approach first and see if you've got any voltage. And Tim, I've got a picture of 2 power supplies there. We've got a standard switcher and an ATX style switcher, and you just need to check the voltage on it, make sure that's getting correct voltage, and if it's not, you may need to replace your power supply or adjust it as needed. So Tim, I think we hit all those. Anything to say about any of those before we move on?
No, I think we're
Great.
good.
Sounds good. Danny says, Tim in front of the theater makes me want to watch a movie. So Tim, you're already making the AMC stock go up. See that?
Trying.
Now, Tim, we just teased this a second ago, but let's go ahead and show everybody this. This was your tech tip, Tim, and you sent this to me, man, probably just like a week into this year, week into January. We'd already made the outline for the last live show, but when I saw this, Tim, I thought it was incredible, and so why don't you give our audience a good overview of what you found?
Well, maybe even a background. My first arcade game was a pole position, and I used to laugh because I played it, but there's only so many games of pole position you can play. And I definitely ended up with a lot of screen burn on that game from me playing it. But what it does is allows, we call it the proper free play mod. So there are other mods, but what this one does, it allows the game to play in a track mode, and while it's at the free play, and it removes the large game over, which is what you normally see burned in on it. And then all you got to do is press accelerator to start another game. So you can leave it going. It'll kind of go through some attract screens. I think is it 4 screens or something like that? It goes through some neat stuff, some little animation and stuff. But that's pretty much what it is. And I think it's kind of a cool mod. If you have a pole position, I would highly recommend that you get it. And if I ever get a pole position back, I think that's probably what I'll do to mine right away.
Now, Tim, it said that you can use an EEPROM eraser and a burner, so you can erase the EEPROMs that you currently have and burn the images on top of those. And he actually has those available at the video link there. Or he says you can order a set from Hobby ROMs, correct?
Right. So this is kind of a labor of love project, which I think is really cool. You could just go and get it yourself and do it if you had the means, or you can get it from Hobby ROMs. Anyways, it's a pretty cheap fix to fix your game up like that.
And he has a great document in the video, like in the video description, Tim. And that we put that link down below in the show notes as well, Tim, so people can see it. But I checked out the video that you sent. I thought it was awesome. And yeah, it really, Tim, we had one of these for your Tron arcade cabinet too, these free play mode style kind of proper free play mode mods, and they're really fun to have because it allows people to continue to watch the attract mode and still have that cycle and everything, but you still have the luxury of having free play on top of that, correct?
Correct.
And that's really what it is. And yeah, Tim, he's got the mods for most of the versions of pole position, but I think one version in particular he does not support. And so make sure that you check the video link. There's like 3 different versions of pole, or 3 different sets of pole position, and like one of the sets he's not currently supporting, but the other 2 he does. And I think the other 2 are the more common ones, Tim, the Atari set, and I can't remember what the other one is. But yeah, so you can find it all at the video link because I kind of read through it and I thought it was pretty cool. So if you have a pole position, Tim, I think it's worth it. Now, Tim, your first game not only was your first game of pole position, but you also had a pole position sit down, which we talked about as well.
Yes, and I really missed that game. It's probably kind of one of those you would love to have back, maybe one day.
Absolutely, Tim. So thanks for bringing that up in your tech tip. I thought it was awesome. And hopefully those of you who have pole positions will be able to do this mod and really enjoy having that free play mode, but still being able to enjoy the attract mode and not have to worry about a game over being burned in your screen. So now, Tim, you texted me and you told me something and you sent me a picture, and I couldn't believe it, to be honest with you. I thought for sure like this was, you were pulling my leg or something like that. I didn't know what was going on, but it has to do with your latest pickup, correct?
Yeah.
So your latest arcade game pickup, I'm going to go ahead and put, this is the picture you sent me, and I'm going to go ahead and put the little description I put on the outline here. So I'll let you tell the story.
Well, as you might remember, we had quite a cold front come through Texas. Right after Christmas, it was pretty snowy and cold, and I got a phone call said that there were 2 arcade games in the dumpster, okay? and they didn't know what they were, but one of them said Galaga. Well, that really got my juices flowing, even on a cold day, to go check it out. I said, where? And they said, well, it was a storage building down Old Jacksonville Highway. Now, you'll laugh at that, John, because you know that they're everywhere you go down that highway. There's new storage buildings. So it took some driving and some figuring out, and that's why I didn't call you right away, because I wasn't even sure I'd ever find it. I about given up, and I come around the corner, and then I found 2 arcade one-ups in the trash. Now, the Galaga one was pretty smashed and beat up, and it wasn't worth salvaging. But that picture is exactly how I found that Street Fighter, and it was complete. I have not, it didn't have a power supply or anything, or power cord, but I robbed it off of the Galaga one, and I've yet to had time to work on it. It's kind of been on the back burner, and you know, I had to kind of explain to the wife that I was dragging another arcade game home, but don't worry, it was little. Kind of speech, you know. But anyway, it was complete. There's a monitor in there. I think the board is in there, and it actually is in pretty decent shape. The other one was beat up pretty bad, but there it sat right there in the trash can. So I literally just lifted it out of the trash can and put it right in my truck and took it home that day.
Now, some more cynical people, and maybe some of the people in live chat, would say that that's where that belongs, Tim, but I actually like arcade one-ups, and so I think what you did was fantastic, and hopefully we get a chance to, maybe we'll shoot a video on it, Tim, kind of get a chance to actually see if it works, what we're going to do with it, do something with it, but hey, I'll take a free mini arcade game any day of the week, so.
Well, I have 2 nephews that are fixing to be 6 and 4. And they're both boys, and I hope to fix that up for them. I bet that they wouldn't care that it was an arcade one-up. They would probably have a lot of fun with it, and if they kill it in a few weeks, I would get at least a few weeks of enjoyment knowing they got to play it quite a bit. So we'll see.
You know, I've got a lot of full-size arcade cabinets, Tim. I've got 6 arcade one-ups, too, and I tell you what, the kids love them when they come over. I mean, you know, it's cool to have something that's just your height. You know, with a regular arcade game, my kids have to either sit on a stool or stand on a like a footstool or something like that. With the arcade one-ups, they can just walk up to them and play them. You know, and it's nice that they play multiple games. I personally think they're cool. Look, they're not arcade games. They're not like traditional arcade games. I fully accept that. But for what they are and for the price that they are, they're pretty awesome. So, and especially when you get it for free.
I will dig them out of the trash just about any chance I get.
Absolutely. And Tim, of course, you're one of the first ones. You got to play with them before release. I mean, if you go back and see Tim went out to California and was actually able to play one. And I know you've been looking for a Centipede for a long time. I haven't seen any Centipedes around. But hey, you scored a Street Fighter, and I think, you know, for free, man, you can't pass it up.
Yeah, no.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks for enlightening us on your most recent pickup, Tim. Now let's go ahead and talk about Arcade One-Up for a second, Tim, because they did release a bunch of new cabinets. And so we'll go ahead and move to our discussion portion real quick. And Tim, here's a list of all the cabinets that they announced. And you can find out all the details about these guys. There's a lot of different places. We just took this from the Game Informer article. But Tim, probably the biggest announcements were the Killer Instinct cabinet that has Killer Instinct 1 and 2, Battletoads, and Battletoads and Double Dragon in it. And then the 4-player X-Men cabinet, which has X-Men, Captain America and the Avengers, and then Avengers and Galactic Storm, which is another arcade game. I think those two were big. Of course, the Dragon's Lair cabinet has Dragon's Lair 1 and 2 and Space Ace, Tim. That was another one. And then other than that, Tim, there were 3 legacy cabinets that are kind of upgraded models to what they've already released. Like the Street Fighter 2, Tim, is a 12-in-1 Street Fighter 2 that's just like the Street Fighter 2 you picked up. For the most part, the artwork's a little different, but it plays 12 Capcom games instead of the 3.
Okay.
And then there's a Pac-Man one that plays 12 Bandai Namco games. The Atari Legacy is exactly identical to the Atari 12-in-1 that they had before, except it's in a Tempest-style cabinet. And then, Tim, the thing I think a lot of people were interested in is the Pong 4-player pub table. And that has Warlords on it, Tim, which is a game that I know a lot of people like to play. But that one looks fairly interesting. Tim, which one of these cabinets are you the most interested in?
I would probably be most interested in the Pong, maybe the Tempest. But the Pong for sure.
Yeah, the Pong is really cool, and I think it stands up pretty tall, Tim. So you guys, it'd be great for guys who have like a little, bar area in their house or something, or a man cave. If they just were looking for one game, maybe a good one to have. But Tim, I think these are all cool. The only one that I may be interested in is the Killer Instinct, just because Killer Instinct cabinets, Tim, go for a ton. I mean, you're talking like $2,000 typically or more for a Killer Instinct cabinet. And Tim, I do like to play Killer Instinct. It's a fun game. And I would invest in that, but I'll have to wait till they get on clearance or something before I throw down any money on it. So,
yeah.
Any other thoughts?
No. What's going on in the chat?
Let's see. Brexer Show says that was a good score. LOL, easy fix and mod. And he says, I personally don't like 1-ups, but it's a good score for free. Absolutely, man. I bought my Street Fighter 2, on Facebook for $40, Tim. I thought I got a good deal on that one. And you made my score look bad. So so you got a much better deal than I got. I had to throw down two 20s. You didn't have to throw down anything. So
I might have to throw down some to get it working. We'll
see. I did put some money into the one I bought. I just bought like an overlay for it and a couple other things. Not a whole lot, but they're still fun to have around. Let's see. Silver Wedge says, my favorite game was Robotron 2084. Built a MAME 32 cocktail machine out of a Mispack. So there you go. That's cool. Oh, Ozzy says, I have a Dead Asteroids cocktail table. Have you heard of any cool conversation ideas for an Asteroids cocktail, Tim? So the problem with Asteroids, Tim, is vector monitor. And so you can fix them typically. But it's... If the tube goes bad, it's pretty much a boat anchor because trying to find tubes is a little difficult. So you could always do, I think, just a regular conversion on it, right, Tim? Like a multi-Kate horizontal type conversion on it. But if you can fix it, we'd recommend doing that, correct?
Yeah. That hopefully it's still got a chassis that's fixable.
Absolutely. So as long as the tube is still good, the chassis can be fixed typically. So but the tube goes bad, like boat anchor is basically what it is. So because finding replacement vector tubes is tough. So but again, see what it's doing. See if you can fix the vector monitor. We have a lot of repair guides, Tim, that we've posted over the years. Different links to. I can look those up if you need help, Ozzy. Email us at questions@arcaderepairtips.com and I can send you those. Let's see what we got here. 1-Up is awesome, so is the At Games Legends cabinet. That's from Geeklight 08. I agree, guys. Look, a lot of people knock on these home-use only cabinets, but I like them. You know why? Because I like arcade games. And I know that they're not commercial, but I still like them. I still enjoy them. What about you, Tim?
Oh, yeah. They're fun. It's affordability is what it is.
Exactly.
And you just... if I could find regular arcade games all day long for those prices, I'd pick them up.
Exactly. Danny says he likes the Dragon's Lair and the Tempest. And the Tempest cabinet looks just like a Tempest cabinet, Tim. And I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but they put the coin door sticker on the bottom now, which I think is cool as well. Makes it look more authentic. On the older ones, they just had kind of a games list down there. So,
right.
Cool stuff. Let's see. Soggy Kid said, I just did a mod on my channel for an Arcade 1-Up screen tilt for Street Fighter 2. It looks much better. I've seen these screen tilt mods, Tim, and they're fine. I mean, but, like I said, for an Arcade 1-Up, to me, it is what it is. I mean, if you want to mod them, that's fine. But I kind of like to keep mine original because I like it to be what it is. You know what I'm saying? I may mod one at some point. We may mod yours. I don't know. But, to me, I like the fact that it is what it is kind of thing. So...
Right.
If I want a MAME cabinet, I've got a MAME cabinet, so it's like, if I want to play other games, I can play them on that. But the Arcade 1-Ups, I just like what they are. They're kind of cool. The Tempest looks great, and that's what Soggy Kid says too. I agree. The Tempest looks really nice. It's probably the best looking one out of the bunch. The Killer Instinct doesn't look bad either, Tim. And the X-Men looks exactly like what I remember X-Men looking like in the arcade. And I bet it doesn't have that issue with the faulty Konami sound chip. Which now you can get replacements for that, thank goodness. But, that's something that was a big issue for a long time. But if you guys want to check out the rest of the Arcade 1-Up lineup, you guys can go to the Game Informer link there. We also have it down below. And you can see all the cabinets that they announced recently. So, let's see, Tim. So last month we talked about the Insert Coin documentary about Midway in the 90s. And Tim, that documentary did talk a little bit about NBA Jam. But now we're hearing that there's an actual NBA Jam documentary in the works. And according to this article, it's going to bring the Boomshakalaka, Tim. And this is from GameSpot. But it says, legendary video and arcade game NBA Jam will be the focus of a new documentary, according to Variety. Best Crosses Studios, the production arm of the basketball-themed social media platform of the same name, has optioned author Ryan Alley's 2019 book, NBA Jam, from publisher Boss Fight Books. Documentary director Sean Maynard, The Carter Effect, 25 years, UFC 25 years in short, will develop and direct the film, building off the work Ollie did in his research for his book. And so, Tim, I love NBA Jam. I don't know if you're a big fan of NBA Jam. I'm a huge fan. And so I love seeing these documentaries about arcade games. Insert Coin was fantastic, and if you haven't seen that, you should go to Amazon and rent it tonight. Insert Coin, behind the scenes at Midway in the 90s, or whatever the subtitle is, I can't remember. But you should watch that one. It is fantastic, and I expect that this NBA Jam one will be good as well. So just looking forward to more. Tim, we talked about this in the after show before. We love documentaries, and Tim, we love arcade games. So documentaries about arcade games kind of right up our alley, right?
Win-win.
Exactly. So good stuff there, but looking forward to seeing that NBA Jam documentary very soon. Now, Tim, I kind of posted this on the Facebook page, and I said somebody made a movie about you, basically is what it is. But Nick Cage's latest B movie, Extravaganza, pits him against demonic animatronics, Tim. This sounds familiar. Maybe like Five Nights at Freddy's, or like what Tim had to face when he used to work at Chuck E. Cheese. But Willy's Wonderland is about a man who needs some cash fast after his car breaks down, apparently outside of a Chuck E. Cheese style restaurant. So he agrees to clean the restaurant overnight. The twist, the animatronics are killers. The other twist, the man is played by Nicolas Cage. I love that. So where will this one fall? Willy's Wonderland has fun, wacky, stripped-down premise, and it looks like all of its energy will be propelled by Cage's particular brand of Cageness, which is definitely promising. So, Tim, I need somebody who can do deepfake videos very well to deepfake Tim into this movie. So you can deepfake him and just put him as Nicolas Cage. I'm looking for people who are good with deepfakes. So if you're good at that, please let me know. And then once this movie comes out, we're going to get Tim's face on there. Tim, he even looks like he's wearing something you would wear.
Yeah.
So I think it's hilarious. And so, like I said, I need a deepfake artist to put Tim's face over Nicolas Cage on this so we can get that done. But anyway, Tim, what do you think about this? I mean, is this something you ever had to deal with at Chuck E. Cheese? You worked on the animatronics.
Well, we always thought that place was haunted, and occasionally we'd have to move overnight. And it did always feel like he was watching you when you walked around the room. But I don't know if that's the Mona Lisa effect or what. But definitely some strange things with remember the horse game used to ride on its own, and we had a few other instances. And a ghost, of course, which we filmed and shot a video or released on Halloween.
That's right. We still have that on the channel, actually, so... But, so there you go. I mean, guys, I don't think it's as far-fetched a premise as we think. Of course, Five Nights at Freddy's kind of popularized this, Tim. And Willy's Wonderland, I feel like, is kind of taking a little bit of the steam from that. But it doesn't matter. It sounds like a funny, fun premise, and I'm going to watch it just because. And like I said, anybody who's good with deepfakes, let me know. We got to get Tim in this movie. Let's see. Ozzy says, have you seen the arcade one-up pinball machines, Tim?
I haven't seen one in person. Just the videos and just the pictures I've seen online.
So they have the Star Wars one, and I think they have a Marvel one, and they have the Attack from Mars one that actually has actual pinball tables on it. Tim, which one would interest you the most, do you think?
Probably the Star Wars one, just because of Star Wars.
So I'd probably be more on the Attack from Mars train, Tim, because it's more like a real pinball machine. And Tim, it looks like, I think Best Buy had those up for pre-order, and they sold out super fast. And I think that goes to show you that there is a market for these and that there are people willing to pay. Tim, especially if it's tables that you know and love. Attack from Mars is a very well-loved table, and it sounds like there's going to be a lot of other Williams and Bally classics on that table as well. And so I think there's a lot of people who are looking to throw down some money. And Tim, $500 is a lot less than $2,000 plus that you would have to throw down on a used one, or $5,000 plus that you'd have to throw down on a new one. So...
That's true.
Absolutely. Let's see. Shoggy Kid says, Midway was so good in the 90s. Endless amounts of great arcade games. And he says he did pre-order the Attack from Mars one. So he was one of the people who pre-ordered it. Let us know what you think of it when you get it. We played a lot of video pinball, Tim, and I do like it. The only thing I don't like about video pinball, Tim, is, and this goes for Pinball Arcade and like all the different platforms, is that the ball is way more predictable in video pinball than it is in real life.
True.
So in real life, the physics are different. And every pinball machine plays differently. Every single one. You can play... And Bride of Pinbot is one that I play a lot, Tim, because I like it. And every single one I've played plays differently. Every single one. And hitting that billion-point shot is different every single time. Even though it's technically should be the same shot, but people dial in the flippers differently, or they dial in the level differently, the way that they level the pinball machine. And then there's just quirks about each machine. And when you're playing video pinball, Tim, it's kind of all the same, right?
That's
so
true.
I mean, look, the cost though, I can't blame you. The cost for a video pinball machine, $500 versus $2,000, $5,000 that you're gonna pay for a real pinball machine, it's a lot of difference. So I mean, I think, and hey, if it gets cheap enough, I'm gonna buy one myself, Tim. So let's see. Has anyone played the arcade 1-up shooting game yet? That's from Danny. They do have a Big Buck Hunter, Tim. I don't know if you've seen that yet, and it looks like, from everything I've seen, it works pretty well. I haven't played it, but you haven't seen it? It looks just like a miniature Big Buck Hunter.
Yeah.
So it has the same rifle guns. The biggest problem I see with it is that they're still using the 17-inch LCD, which seems really small for a light gun game.
I'd be interested to see how it works then with the gun.
Yeah, it does work. People have them and they say it works well. And you can get them from, I think Best Buy has them right now that you can purchase them from. So if you're looking, but apparently they've got a way to do it. And Tim, there's been mods for some like old style games to make them work with light guns. So there have been some mods. There's some mods that can be done to make LCDs work with light guns, and maybe that's what they did in this case. I don't know if they're doing that or if they used like something more like a Wii style light gun. So I haven't delved that much into it. So let's see. Yeah, there are some reviews out there. The Attack from Mars sold out before the email even went out on the Arcade 1-Up email list. Yeah, that's how fast those sold out, Tim. Yeah, wow. I mean, I tell you, people love those tables. I love Attack from Mars. It's a good game. So, there's a lot of good Williams games. I forget what's all on there, Tim, but it's a lot of classics that you would know. So, now, Tim, I saved this one for last, and I thought it was the coolest one because I had no idea that this was going to just show up one day. But this is footage from an Aladdin's Castle in Tyler, Texas around 1981, recently uploaded to YouTube. Tim, we should both mention that neither one of us lived here. We both live near Tyler, very close. And we didn't know that we never were at this Aladdin's Castle, but seeing the footage from it is awesome, right?
Yeah, I'm not in the video. That's
yeah,
sure.
Exactly. So neither one of us lived here in 1981, but Tim, I remember where the arcade was when I got here, but I didn't get here until probably 1989. So I think 1988, 1989 is when we moved here. So so at that point, the arcade was called Jolly Time in the mall, but I think it was in the same place as where the Aladdin's Castle used to be.
Yeah, in the same place, right by Chick-fil-A.
Right, and
before Chick-fil-A.
Right, and so like when Jolly Time took it over, it was expanded, and then Pocket Change took that over, and then Cyberzone took that over, and they expanded it out further to where it basically took out that whole corner. And now, Tim, that corner is just bathrooms. How depressing is that?
It's very depressing.
It is so depressing. But Tim, this video is awesome. And yeah, you posted on your Facebook page saying, does anybody recognize anybody? I don't know. Tim, obviously didn't live here then, but did you find out if anybody recognized anybody in there?
No, a lot of people want to know who the cute girl was. That's about all I got.
She's playing a Pac-Man Cabaret, Tim, that looks identical to the one that I have.
And she definitely was not very good at it.
So I can only assume that they probably took this in the middle of the day. It looked like mostly adults in there. So, yeah. It was probably during the middle of the day. It probably wasn't after school. If there was after school, there would have been a lot of kids in there. But Tim, I never even knew there was an Aladdin's Castle here, because by the time I moved here, it was already called Jolly Time at that point. So wow. I guess Aladdin's Castle, like that location here, got bought out or something. I don't know. But Tim, I would not be surprised. There's a Wizard of War in one of the pictures. There's a Rally X. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these games we've owned.
Oh, I would very much think that there has to be a game or two in there that we have at least had at one point in our collection.
Right, exactly. Because it's just, it was so cool watching the footage, and it's, I think it's 20 minutes or so, but do yourself a favor, go check out this footage, and I want to thank the Diary of an Arcade Employee podcast for finding this. Apparently it had been uploaded to YouTube, and Tim, I'm not always searching YouTube for stuff, I just, I do from time to time, but apparently it had been uploaded to YouTube just like maybe a day or two before, and he posted it on his Facebook page, and so we linked over to it. But so cool, Tim, to see this B-roll footage, and there's a Flash Gordon pinball table. Tim, we've worked on a couple of those. There's a whole bunch of other things in there. So like, I'm pretty sure we've probably touched at least 2 or 3 of these games that came from this Aladdin's Castle back in the day.
Oh, at least 2 or 3.
Yeah, exactly. So
I remember seeing Aladdin's Castle stickers on some games.
that is true. So exactly. So they probably came from here. But like I said, when I got here it was 1989, 1990-ish. And so like most of these games may not have even, I don't remember many of these games being there anymore. Most of what I remember were the late 80s, early 90s games. And so these games may have already been sold off by the point that I came to Tyler. So, but pretty cool stuff. Very, very fun. You should watch the video if you haven't already. And Tim, it's just so funny to see what used to be here right in our little corner of Texas. So
very, very surreal looking at those pictures of those people and thinking we were in that same arcade, just a different time.
Exactly. Razor Show says Flash Gordon pinball or Flash. I didn't think Flash was a pinball about Flash Gordon. So Flash Gordon, there was a Flash Gordon pinball machine and a Flash pinball machine, right, Tim? Yeah, there are 2 different ones. And we've worked on both. We've had our bouts with both. So I think Dario, I think it's a Flash Gordon in the video, if I remember correctly, correct?
Yeah, that's what I remember.
So, let's see. Yeah, Soggy Kid says, look at the guy's aggressive stance in the denim. Epic. And I can't tell what game he's playing there from this picture. If you saw the real video, we could probably find it. But he's definitely he's in that combative stance, right, Tim?
Yeah, and you got to keep in mind that this is basically a news footage of it, so it's not edited or anything. There's not any talking hardly in it. It can be kind of boring in a way, but it's still kind of funny to watch.
What we call B-roll footage, Tim. Like, just footage that they get just so they can have it archived and everything like that. I would love to see if this came from one of the TV stations around here. I would assume so. So maybe somebody was digging through archives at one of the TV stations and found it. But very cool stuff, guys. Let's see. Razor Show says, oh, yeah, that was about the Flash. YouTube Punk says, Aladdin's Castle is my jam. Arcade of my childhood. And then YouTube Punk did ask if we scored on the GameStop stuff. We'll talk about that in the after show. We decided to leave the GameStop stuff for the after show. So if you guys want to hear about what happened with us in GameStop, we can talk about that. Spoiler alert, we didn't make much money.
Well, I should tease that I almost retired.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Well, that's a teaser right there. We'll find out more about that in the after show, Tim. Thank you for that. Let's see. Ozzy says, in the late 80s, early 90s, there was an arcade place in Miami, Florida called Castle Park Malibu Grand Prix. I played Laser Ghosts and a simulator. That's like when... Soggy Kid said, that's like me when I lift my leg shooting a 3-pointer in NBA Jam. That guy with the competitive stance there. Danny said, I had an arcade in the mall when I was a kid called Sultan's Castle Arcade. Sultan's Castle. So it probably was an old Aladdin's Castle they renamed after Aladdin's Castle went bankrupt or something. Sultan's Castle. Mine was named Jolly Time. By the time I got here, it was no longer Aladdin's Castle. It was definitely Jolly Time. So, but still cool stuff, man. And love seeing footage like this. So, well, Tim, let's get ready to wrap up the regular live show portion of this. So we do want to remind everybody that we want your arcade-related videos. If you want some free advertising for your YouTube channel, we're looking for people to submit short videos, 10 minutes or less, about arcade-related topics. Send your link to questions@arcaderepairtips.com, and our staff will review it. If we like it, we'll use it during one of our live show episodes. Make sure you put in a plug for your channel so people will know where to find you. We look forward to your submissions. And Tim, we always throw that out there because we know that there's a lot of arcade-related channels that are having trouble getting monetized after YouTube changed the rules on that. So if you're one of those channels that's just on the cusp of maybe trying to get monetized and you have some arcade-related content, let us know. Send us one that we can play here on the live show, and we'll share it with people and hopefully drive some traffic to your page. And then, Tim, let's go ahead and talk about the contact information real quick. We've got our general email at questions@arcaderepairtips.com, questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Put live show in the subject line if you want to mention it on the live show. If not, we'll just answer it whenever we get around to it. But that's at questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Feel free to email us there. It goes to me and Tim, and we'll try to answer it in a timely fashion. We have our YouTube page, Tim, and of course, if you're watching this live or if you're watching the video of this, you know where it is. But if you're listening to this on the podcast, you might want to check out the YouTube page at youtube.arcaderepairtips.com. And comments from the last live show will be covered on the next episode. Tim, it may take us a couple episodes to get those questions in here. I think we covered a couple of questions on this episode from 2 live shows ago. It just depends on how the outlines kind of line up and things like that. But we try to get all the comments from previous live shows on the next episode of the live show. So if you leave a comment here on this one, we'll try to get to it on your next one. And that's at youtube.arcaderepairtips.com to check that out. We should also mention that if you guys are listening to the podcast of this and you want to check out the after show, make sure you go to youtube.arcaderepairtips.com and look up the episode, and you can listen to the after show on that, because we only post the regular live show to our podcast feed. And then, Tim, we have our podcast email, and this is for Rusty and Eric. Tim, we haven't heard from them in a while, but I know that they did reach their goal. I know last month we were talking that they were trying to reach a goal to keep the arcade open, and they did reach that goal. Congratulations to Eric and Rusty. But we know that times have been tough for them because of all of the COVID stuff and how it's affecting arcade owners, and so but they are still the host technically of the Q&A podcast, question and answer podcast. So make sure you subscribe at itunes.arcaderepairtips.com or stitcher.arcaderepairtips.com. You can subscribe there. We're also on Spotify and wherever fine podcasts are aggregated. And if you'd like to send a message to Eric and Rusty, you can send that to podcast@arcaderepairtips.com. I'm hoping at some point we can get a podcast episode out of them. I know they said they've recorded some content, but again, Tim, they've got a lot on their plate with the way that COVID has affected their business. So, but if you want to email them, podcast@arcaderepairtips.com, let them know that you missed them. I'm sure they'd appreciate that. And then we have our social media pages, Tim. We have our Facebook page at facebook.arcaderepairtips.com and twitter.arcaderepairtips.com, where we post a lot of arcade-related news and other things. And, Tim, usually I would thank Mark and Louie for their efforts. Of course, Mark is still with us, but Louie is not, like we mentioned earlier in the show. But we still want to thank both of them for all the contributions that they have made to our social media pages. But again, facebook.arcaderepairtips.com for Facebook. And if you don't like Facebook, twitter.arcaderepairtips.com. You can follow us there as well. We do take questions on both those pages, so if you want to leave a question there, you can. Tim, I do also want to remind people what we talked about earlier in the podcast, that Louis passed away. One of our social media contributors on had a stroke on Christmas Eve, passed away 4 days later, and that we're still raising money in order to give to his family. So if you want to donate to that, it's arcaderepairtips.com/donate, and then make sure in the "What's This For" box that you put Louis Memorial there, so that way we'll know to designate for that. All that money that comes in for the Louis Memorial will be added to the $150 that me and Tim are going to contribute to that fund. So any additional amount will be added onto that, and we'll give it to Louis' family probably between this live show and the next live show, Tim, I imagine. So, but anything else that you want to mention here, Tim, before we move into the after show? Any teasers except for the fact that you almost retired?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some movie stuff that we watched. Johnson, I didn't mention that I've watched The Undoing. That's the thing you had recommended.
That's very good. Okay, yeah, I like The Undoing a lot. I want to get your thoughts on it, though.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys that have watched us so far. We look forward to any of you that want to stick around for the after
And
show.
I'll give a couple of quick teasers as well, Tim. We'll talk Super Bowl, because why not? You got Super Bowl Sunday. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about GameStop, Tim. You already mentioned that, and how you're going to semi-retire. We're also it looks like for those of you guys who are looking for an alert, I just got an alert that like PS5s and Xboxes may be available on Walmart. So if you're looking for that, that's the alert. Tim, we're going to talk about some of the shows I've watched, including Flight Attendant, Tiger, Lady and the Dale, and Heaven's Gate: The Cult of Cults, which are some of the things that I've been watching. So I'll tell you guys all about those in the after show as well. But if you guys are getting off here, we want to thank you guys for joining us in the live chat. We want to thank you guys for watching tonight. We always appreciate you guys being here. It is so much fun to have you here, Tim. You know, whenever we post on Facebook, we always say that the show is not the same without you. And it's true, because you guys are a big part of this show. Right, Tim?
Correct. You are
exactly.
the show.
You are the
We're
show.
just-
So, it would not be the same without you. So when you join us, guys, we try to get everybody's questions and comments addressed in the live chat whenever we do this because you guys are the show. We run the show, but you guys are the show. And so we want to thank you guys for being here. It always makes for a great time whenever we have a lively live chat. So thank you guys for that. But we look forward to seeing you guys in March if you're getting off here, Tim. And I think that that'll do it for tonight. So it looks like if you guys are going to join us next time, it's going to be March 4th. So the same day, right? Crazy. So
Yeah.
March 4th, we'll be back with another live show, and you guys can send your questions to questions at Arcade Repair Tips until then. So we're going to sign off here. If you want to stick around for about 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll get into the after show and some of the topics we just talked about. But if you're getting off here, thanks for joining us. And remember, here at Arcade Repair Tips, when we fix the game,
You play the
take
game.
care, everybody. We'll see you next month, or we'll see you in the after show. We'll see you soon, guys. Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Arcade Repair Tips live show. All of our past episodes are available on our website at arcaderepairtips.com or on our YouTube page. This show is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please consult a professional before attempting to repair any coin-operated machines yourself. The preceding program is a Varcade Entertainment production.
Okay, we're back. I had to unmute my mic there for a second, Tim. Let's see if we can hear you. Say something.
Testing. Hello, testing.
There you go. Okay, I think we got it. We're both here again. So we want to thank you guys for staying in for the after show. Now, Tim, I saw that YouTube Punk says, we'll use this intermission to donate to the Louis Grubbs Memorial Fund. We got those funds, YouTube Punk. Thank you for that donation. It means a lot. So we're going to add that to the total that me and Tim have already contributed. And like I said, we're going to leave that open for a while. So if you're watching this a week or two after, that should still be up there. Even if you're listening to this on the podcast and you want, of course, you want to be listening to this part, but if you're watching this part, you can donate. We may even wait till after the next live show to get that money to them, just depending on how bad they need it. So, but we want to give everybody the opportunity to give what they can. And guys, I know we've asked a lot of you guys to donate to some of the arcades and things like that. And so, I mean, don't feel obligated by any means, but we appreciate any donations. And Louis was a big part of this team. Tim, after we stopped doing the question and answer podcast, we said we were going to focus on more video content. After we announced that, I kind of sloughed off for like 3 or 4 months and was just like lazy about it. And I remember Louis saying, you really need to do what you said you're going to do and focus more on video content. And that's kind of when we decided to do the live show. So Louis kind of, gave us that push that we needed to kind of get going on it. And if it wasn't for Louis, who knows how long it would have taken us to get to this point. And Tim, I don't know if you're keeping track of things, but today is this is episode 48. Which means we've been doing this for 4 years. So, and every live show up until the last one, which we didn't know, of course, had Louis in some capacity. Whether that was him helping with the outlines, or him moderating in the live chat, or him just, giving input, or helping us with technical stuff. He did a lot around here, and he will be greatly missed. So, Tim, we talked about it a lot at the beginning. I don't want to get into it too much now, but we will miss him. And when I found out, Tim, when I posted the thing on the Facebook page and on Twitter, dude, it hit me hard. So it really did. I think it hit both of us very hard.
I think so.
And so,
but it's kind of like at some point though, you say, well, what would Louis say to us now? And he would say, just keep going, fellas, and keep up the good work. And I feel like that there's things that we can do now to honor his memory and legacy. That we can make a good a quality show as we can and help as many people as we can. Kind of like, one thing we really all face that at some point. I spoke at my own father's funeral, and I was up there on the stage with the pastor and the pastor that was going to do the message, but I kind of got up and read the obituary and stuff. It was really hard because I wanted to be grieving, but I kind of had to suck it up a little bit. But I remember the preacher looked at me and he said, one day it's going to be me and you. You think they'll have any trouble finding anything good to say about us? Kind of joking. But it stuck with me is that, it's like you want people to smile at your birth and cry at your funeral, and we will definitely miss him, and that we didn't even get to go to any type of funeral or something or a memorial, but he's definitely in our hearts, and on his family and his girlfriend and his mother still on our prayers, but it does show that we're just not guaranteed we have to live life as full as we can, to the best that we can, and affect as many people. And I really mean that. About the older I get, John, I think about people that maybe I had a disagreement with 20 years ago, and it really doesn't matter. Those things you forget over time, but the goodness and the people who helped you through in tough times or that were there for you and your family, you remember those things. Agreed,
Tim. And, it's just, he was young. He was between you and me. And, it's it's young. And, especially when I know people who are 90 years old and plus, and it's just like, he was a young man. He still had a lot of his life ahead of him. But, man, he he did so much, Tim. I mean, and guys, he was just as passionate about answering questions as we are. He answered a lot of y'all's questions on the Facebook page. If he ever got stumped, he would get with me and Tim and get some of our info. But a lot of the Facebook questions he answered, and like I said, a lot of posts he created. He was a big part of this team. And like I said, he will be missed. But Tim, I don't want to get too bogged down on that. But we want to thank anybody who donates to Louis Memorial Fund. And again, if you guys want to do that, arcaderepairtips.com/donate, and then just make sure you put in the "What's this money for" section, make sure you put Louis Memorial there, so that way we know to designate it for that fund. So we're gonna miss our friend. And it hit both of us very hard because we just didn't expect it. And Tim, I think this just goes to say one other thing is that you should tell people how you feel about them every minute of every day, and just say, thank you. And Tim, I'm going to say the same thing to you since I got you here. Thank you for everything you've done for me over the years and for our friendship. It's a big deal. So.
Yeah, and remind us older guys, if you're old as Pac-Man, then you need to get checked up every year. You need to get your regular checkups, and we do need to go to the doctor and
colonoscopies.
As much as we like those, I'm due one myself. So encourage us guys that we want to be around and outlive some of these video games and stuff. So
agreed. So guys, it's tough, and Tim, it just seemed like 2020. Kind of like I said in the live show, I felt like it was past us, it was behind us, and then all of a sudden I just find this gut punch just comes right in and just takes my breath away, and it just shows you how much these 2020, Tim, we're about to come up on your birthday again, and that was like the last large event we've been at, and is the XFL game, and that it's just crazy to think it's been less than a year, but we've had so much loss. I mean, everybody I know has lost somebody. It seems like in the last 12 months. So just praying for all of y'all out there that have had a lot of loss, and it's been a hard year, guys. It's been a hard 12 months. So. But Tim, let's look forward a bit. Anything that you have to report for your January? Did you do anything special?
Well, we had the snow day here in Texas, which was awesome, and really enjoyed just for those of you that don't understand, and when we get snow, it doesn't stick, and it snowed to like 11 hours one day, solid, and we had this beautiful snow. After that, it has been work and more work and focusing on nothing but the work, probably too much. And so my January was kind of a blur. It doesn't really seem like we're already a month in to it. Nothing big accomplished, but nothing big lost. So really looking forward to the springtime. I think I'm not a winter person. I don't guess.
Yeah, I mean, we're here in Texas, Tim. We're not winter people. So it was nice to get the snow, though. It was fun to play in. My daughter and my son had a lot of fun in it. But we're not. If you live in Texas, you're probably not a winter person. And the thing I like about living in Texas is that it doesn't snow here much. And the nice thing about heat is you don't have to shovel it. So right. I'm all about that. Now, Tim, I will give an update on my PlayStation 5 procurement quest. I scored another one today from the Walmart drop, which makes 10 total. So I've had 10. They've all gone to people, Tim, who paid me what I paid for it. I have not scalped one of them. The last one that I sold was to a friend of mine from high school. She has a 15-year-old son, and his birthday is mid-February. And the only thing that he was asking for was a PlayStation 5. And she told him, well, I don't know if we're going to be able to get one. They're hard to get. They're expensive. And then she ended up buying one from me. So I know she has it, and she said she's going to send me a video of him opening it up. And Tim, I can't wait to get that video. It's going to be awesome.
Cool.
So, I think, guys, it's amazing how much happiness a little console can give people. I mean, it's just, and these things are hard to get. They're even hard to get for me. I've had 10 of them, but I've tried way more than that to get them. And I'm hearing it's not going to get any easier until the middle of the year. And so if you're looking for one, don't give up. Keep trying. Don't pay scalpers, please. because that just encourages the behavior. Hang in there, you're going to get one. And Sony's doing everything they can to crank them out. So, but Tim, it's been fun. I think I'm quitting my quest here. I think this will be the last one that I'm going to get. I don't know of anybody else, any of my friends who are looking for one at the moment. And so my quest ends here, is what I'm going to say. So that may change if somebody drags me back in. But it's been fun because it's allowed me to connect with some people that I haven't connected with in a long time. Like my friend Rebecca from high school, that I got her one, and so it's just been fun a little bit. But I think it's very time consuming too, so I'm hanging it up now. So there you go. It was fun though. It was fun while we did it. Let's see. YouTube Punk says, "I know you shouldn't scalp, but you should get a little compensation." So I tell people they can tip if they want to. I've had a couple tip me, but I say I'm not gonna force you to tip. If you wanna give me something extra, that's fine. But if you just want to pay me for the console, that's fine too. And you know, I'm not looking to get rich off this like a lot of these guys are. I just want people who actually want to play the console to get the console. So, okay, Tim, let's move into GameStop. So tell us about your almost retirement.
Well, if guys, if you've been watching the news at all, you'll know that Jonathan and I are kind of, I wouldn't call us amateur investors anymore. We've been in it a few years now, but we're definitely not professionals at it, and we don't have a lot of money tied up. But, you know, I knew that the battle was kind of going on between what we want to call the Reddit boys and the big short companies and stuff. And
hedge funds.
Yeah, so what happened, I had about 100 shares when it was about $3, and when it went to about $9, I sold because that tripled my money.
That's what we do. Yeah, I was about to say, that's the way we invest.
That's the way we invest, and profit is profit. But as it began to rise, I thought about, well, maybe, and then I heard a lot of the rumors and things about how that people were really banding together and were going to try to overthrow a short squeeze was about to happen. I've been involved in a couple of short squeezes, and both of them I've made money, so I decided it might be time to really step up and go in. And so I tried to buy 100 back, and Robinhood blocked me and did not let my sale go through. To give you guys an idea, you know, 100 shares at $9 is, yeah, you know,
$900.
$900, but
100 shares at $400.
$400 was $40,000. So I missed out on not that I wouldn't have sold before then, but I missed out on the potential. And I really considered buying 1,000 shares, but I couldn't buy the 100, so it wasn't worth buying 1,000 shares, which would have been my pretty much able to retire early. So I'm never in. I don't really look for home runs. But I'm not dumb either, you know. It's like I can see when there was a good one today that was going up, and I'm not as scared as I used to jump in the middle. Does that make sense, John? I used to be really scared to jump in the middle. Well, not anymore. If I've got the trades available, why not? And just put a stop loss on it, and if it goes, it goes. If it don't, I'll lose a little bit. But I'm not as timid about going in a little bit more than I normally would.
So let's talk about jumping in the middle. If you would have jumped in the middle, let's say $150, $200, you still would have doubled your money.
Right, which is the same amount of money though I made in the beginning.
Right, exactly.
So that's why we say we go by percentages, right, John? If we can make,
100%.
50% or 100% of our return, which is tripling, is 300%.
Correct.
You can't argue that. I'll do that all day long, and then I will retire pretty soon.
Exactly.
It was an interesting ride, though, to say the least. So the next stock that came along that they said they wanted to kind of do the similar thing to is the one above me. It had a little more feet to it, though, because a lot of people have helped bail out AMC without going into bankruptcy. They do plan on reopening. I do think that in the future, as was it Danny that said earlier he wanted to go to the movies? I think there are certain movies and certain experiences you just can't get at home. I think there's something about going to the movie, seeing maybe the new Godzilla versus King Kong or something that will not be the same at home as it would be in the movies. So I do look forward to a day when AMC does make a comeback. So I did throw some money at them. I'm not as optimistic as some people are, or I'm not as worried as other people are. There were people, Jonathan, that bought in at GameStop at 300 that are still holding, and I think they're crazy.
They are crazy.
That just doesn't make any sense. Now, if you bought in at $10 or $15, why not hold? Because I think it traded at $20 before the lockdown.
Exactly.
So it makes sense that eventually you're going to make that money back, but I don't know if you'll ever make $300 back. But I think it was a lot of more of the principle. It was the us versus the little guys, which we've always talked about Robin Hood, but Robin Hood was back, robbing from the rich and giving it to the poor. Robin Hood was always seen as the app that us commoners, average folk used to go up against the big guys, and more than often we would lose. But now with Robin Hood blocking us with a lot of pressure, it really has caused us to reconsider using our Robin Hood apps, and I'm definitely putting more money into Webull now.
So I have taken off the Robin Hood referral links that we used to have at the bottom, guys, and we have replaced those with our Webull links. I have pulled all my money out of Robin Hood, Tim. And I have moved exclusively to Webull after what they did. They blocked investors like you. They kept other investors from selling. They sold some shares out from under some investors. It's not right what they did. They're going to be investigated for all of this. And so I recommend, instead of using Robinhood anymore, let's go Webull. Let's do something else, guys. TD Ameritrade is free as well, depending on how many trades you're making, Tim. There's a lot of other free alternatives out there that are better than Robinhood at this point. Move to something else, guys. Just move to something else. So
yeah.
But it's time to dump it. I used Robinhood for a long time. I introduced you to it, right, Tim?
Yeah, you did. I didn't even know what it. I heard of it, but I didn't really understand it. And I probably used your referral link, John, to get hooked up.
Yeah. So but then I used your referral link for Webull, and I think it's a better platform. I like the fact that it defaults to limit buys instead of market buys, which is really good. But it's easier to do the stop losses on as well, which is very important, guys, so you don't lose money. If you don't know what a stop loss is, do the investigation. Now, Tim, we talked about a documentary on Netflix one time. I think it was Race to Zero. That talks exactly about what a short squeeze is. And so instead of explaining what all went on with GameStop, the only difference, they were doing it with Herbalife. Remember that? Yeah. And it was Carl Icahn and somebody else. It was like these two big time investors. One was shorting it, and then Carl Icahn screwed him. The same way that all of these small time investors screwed the hedge fund that was shorting this GameStop. And so if you want to know more about shorting stocks, you should watch the Race to Zero documentary on Netflix, Tim, because that explains it better than we can. The thing was, when Carl Icahn and this other billionaire were doing it, guess what? No red flags.
Nobody cared.
But now, when all of these small time investors do it, guess what? Oh, we need investigations. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So anyway, YouTube Bunk says, how do you close your account? I did not close my account. I still have some stocks that I'm waiting for some resolution on, and so what I did was I just took all my money. I sold every stock that has been resolved, and I took all the money out and then moved it to Webull. So that's what I did. I mean, nothing fancy. I want to keep my Robinhood account open. I'm not actively trading there anymore, and I'm going to leave as little money in there as possible. So I'm not going to close it up because, I mean, I may decide to use it at some point in the future, but I'm definitely not using it for the foreseeable future anyway. Webull will be my new stock trading app from now on, which I was already using it as kind of my primary for the most part, but it is a better platform overall. And you know what? They didn't stop the trades on GameStop. They did for just a limited amount of time, right, Tim? Like maybe an hour or two, but they were trying. What? Yeah, computer glitch, exactly. They were having some issues, but once they resolved those, they let everybody trade as they wanted to. So I mean, obviously, Tim. It's not very often. Actually, we've never seen a short squeeze like that, and it's not very often that short squeezes happen anyway. Tim, a lot of people mentioned the Volkswagen one that happened a while back. Do you remember that one?
I did not. I was not a part of that one.
So there was a Volkswagen one, short squeeze a while back. And, of course, we talked about the Herbalife one, which is in the Race to Zero documentary on Netflix. If you haven't seen that, you should. But these happen, guys. And like Tim mentioned, it's an opportunity to make money if you can catch it. So Tim made money. He didn't make as much as some, but he still made money, and that's what matters, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of what my gripe to them. They're like, well, you still made money, and I'm like, I get it, and I'm not that I'm not thankful. I'm reinvesting in some stuff, but at the same time, not the amount of money that I should have made or could have or wanted to make.
Who would have known? Can't blame yourself.
No, it's not my fault. So you know what? There'll be others. I'm enjoying the research that I've been doing. Just bought some stock. It's already up afterwards. I'm getting better at my entry and exit points are definitely a lot better than they used to be, and learning how to duck in and get out like a Robin Hood. I can do it. So.
YouTube Punk says, I know you can bet on anything, but it seems wrong to bet on a company failing. So what is short for? What are shorts for, though? Here's what shorts are for. Shorts are for people who have investigated a company and they think that their business, like their business plan is insolvent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let's say you look at a company and you're like, I can't figure out how this company makes money. There's no way this company can make money. That's what a short is for. Okay, that's why it exists. Is so you can bet on that company. Yes, you are betting on that company to fail, but typically you're betting on that company to fail because you think the business plan is terrible. That's why you're betting on it to fail, basically. Okay, and there's a lot of people who they are professional shorters. What they do is they go and they look at businesses, they look at the way that they operate, and they see, okay, can this business make money? Well, like Herbalife, right? Like that documentary talked about Herbalife. Can Herbalife make money? Well, a lot of people don't think the business model is solvent, that it'll be able to make money. And so they short it because they're betting against that business plan. But that's what that's for. Does GameStop fall into that category? That's a good question. I mean, you could argue that, yeah, their business plan may not be what it once was because the markets have shifted a little bit against them. Is their business plan terrible? Not really. I mean, it's getting there, but there's still opportunities for them to make money. Tim, thoughts?
Yeah, I think that I have a problem with it too because it just doesn't seem like the American way to root for somebody to lose. They don't just want them to lose; they want them to go to zero, which is the title of the thing. On the other hand, I have made some money on shorts in myself options when I heard a company did something illegal, maybe their CEO got arrested, or they were finding out to doing something that was fraudulent, and their stock was overpriced. I have made money that way because I thought there's no way that it's going to go up or stay up this high. So I would put a put in on it, or a call and try to do an options route on it, which Robinhood did allow you to do, but I have signed up for Webull is also going to allow me to do that. So occasionally I see the need for it, but for people that just make a professional, I mean, these guys just to make a little money. They made billions. I don't know if you saw the pictures, John. One was talking about he was fixing to lose his $44 million home. Oh, boo-hoo. It's like you're kind of making money off of other people's misery, which is totally legal. So, it just doesn't seem like the American kind of way of doing things. I'm a bull. I want to see the stock go up. I want to see, for good reason, that they're making money and it's making me money because I'm investing in them. I want to see them that maybe they've acquired and stuff. But, there's a whole other world of people out there that we don't even understand. And it's just funny, when the little guy, to be honest, I know we're in the after show now, when the people that are really struggling right now with COVID, you're getting a $600 check every 6 months, and you got these guys making billions of dollars off of companies that are failing because of COVID, and their people are losing their business. What was neat was, guys, if you followed the news, they actually in 1 week made the Fortune 500. GameStop came back. What I really would like to hear is, what did GameStop do with the money? In other words, some of those shares went to them and their CEOs and stuff. I'm hoping that they cash some out and it will allow some of their employees to stay employed for a little while longer. That was always my goal when I threw some money at it, was I really didn't want to see GameStop go out of business. due to coronavirus. Now, if they go out because of their bad business model or people just don't buy, obviously they would be selling consoles, and stuff like that. But and I've always seen them as it's a place where let's say your controller broke today. You need a place you can go buy that controller today. You don't want to wait for it to come in the mail or whatever. You're playing your game. So I could see that they might have to change their model a little bit and buy used games and stuff. I think we've all kind of felt ripped off by them when we turned in a game that we spent $60 on and we're getting $2 for. But at the same time, something out of this will probably change, but I doubt it'll benefit the little guy anymore. We already feel disadvantaged enough, being that we can only trade 3 times in one day. If you guys don't understand day trading, the richer I am, the more I can trade, and the more I can afford to get in and out. Had a friend of mine that lost $6,000 yesterday. His worst day this year, he made $49,000 today. He made up for that. He wasn't worried. You know why? Because there were plenty of other trades he could take a risk on. And so kind of goes back to that it takes money to make money. But that's also encouraging to me as I build my little portfolio up to get to that point one day where I can trade unlimited. And that's probably what I do for a living one of these days.
There you go. Well, we'll leave it there, guys, for the GameStop stuff. But it's very interesting, and hopefully you made some money. If you did, that's great. Let us know. But I had GameStop stock at one time, Tim, but I sold it probably a year or two ago just because it's kind of held pretty steady, and I wanted a little bit of a profit. So should have held on to it, I guess. I was in at 15, could have made some money, but that's how it goes. So, Tim, real quick, Chiefs Bucks, who do you got for the Super Bowl?
A lot of people don't know this, Jonathan. Will mention that Patrick Mahomes is from where you went to high school.
Correct.
And from a little town, which is right here 8 miles up the road from where I live. So we have a lot of Chiefs fans here, and I really rooted for the Chiefs last year. But something about the Bucks, they've never won a Super Bowl that I know of, right? They never won a Super Bowl. I used to hate Tom Brady, and I've come to respect him a lot more.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah, he really is. And I don't know. Have you ever watched a game and decided probably about second quarter I'll tell you who I'm for? I don't know. I don't. Either one could win. It wouldn't hurt my feelings or gain anything. But I bet you when I'm watching, surprisingly, I kind of feel like I'm rooting for the Bucks for some reason. Just maybe that underdog. I don't know. I do like Patrick Mahomes. I am a Chiefs fan of theirs, but what about you, John? Are you going for the Chiefs?
I got to go for the Chiefs. Like you said, Patrick Mahomes is my boy. I don't know him personally, but I have a lot of friends who do. So, we'll go for the Chiefs, man. I can't bet against him at this point. It seems like even when people were counting him out, he was in. But look, if Tom Brady wins it, more power to him. I have no dog in this fight. Necessarily. I just want to see a good game. I think it will be a good game, so looking forward to that.
I just saw where the Mattress Mac vote bet $3.8 million. I think it said on the underdog, which I assume is the Bucks.
I would assume would be the Bucks too. So yeah, I think that'll be great. Because look, defending Super Bowl champion is probably not the underdog.
Right.
So. Anyway, okay, Tim. Well, we got I literally have to go in 11 minutes. So we'll yeah, exactly. So what have you been watching? What have you been up to? Tell me some of the stuff.
Okay. I watched The Undoing as you suggested.
What'd you think?
If you haven't seen that, that was one excellent show. Like you said, the acting and everything was just outstanding. Great twist, great ending, very good. So watch that. Another thing that I watched, what did I say, John? I watched Manhunt. That was about the Richard Jewell story. And if you haven't watched Manhunt, what's it called? The Killers? I forgot the name of it. You got it in the show notes.
Deadly Games.
Yeah, Deadly Games. That was really, really good. You would love that, Jonathan. But something that I mentioned earlier, I've been sick for a couple days. I would like to say that I watched a documentary I have not seen in 40 years. 40 years. I watched Roots. from the
Oh,
beginning.
Roots.
And not only there's a lot of stuff as a kid I didn't really understand. Watching it as an adult really made a lot of difference. Now watching it from a different perspective, knowing what was going on, kind of knew what it was about. But just reliving that experience was very good. But it also kind of encouraged me to kind of retrace some of my family history. And so that's kind of what I'm working on now. We'll talk about that maybe next live show. If you're from North Carolina, I'm kin to you somehow.
Sounds good. YouTube Punk says The Undoing, which platform? That's HBO Max on The Undoing, and that has Hugh Grant and
Kidman.
Nicole Kidman, correct. And it's very good. And I'm just gonna say that sometimes it is what it is, and you'll get that, Tim.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is what it is.
Right.
So it is what it is. Let's just put it like that. It's good. It's only 5 episodes.
Yeah, but it's good.
It's very really good. Anything else you got, Tim?
No, that's about all. I wanted to get to your shows. What have you been watching?
So I watched The Flight Attendant. It's mostly been HBO Max stuff. So The Flight Attendant has Kelly Kuko from Big Bang, which is another show I've never watched that people tell me I need to watch all the time. It was okay. The ending was good, but the rest of it I felt like was really weird, and it's almost like I after every episode I felt like I wanted to stop watching it, but I kept watching it for some reason, and I'm glad I did because I got to the end and I was like, at least the ending was good. So I don't know if I'm going to recommend it. I'm gonna if you're bored and you don't have anything else to watch The Flight Attendant. It's okay. It's here. So did you watch it?
I have seen it.
What'd you think?
I liked it, but it's kind of like you. It got kind of really slow in the middle, and then it's like, but you knew it was going to pick up, and it did. It was a good ending. It was good.
It was a good ending. It was a very good ending. So it was worth. The ending was good. I wish that it was kind of weird in the middle, and like you said, even slow. So I can't recommend it. I can't say go watch it. It's if you're bored and you don't have anything else to watch The Flight Attendant. Okay. I watched Heaven's Gate, Cult of Cults. Tim, are you familiar with the Heaven's Gate cult?
Yeah.
The largest mass suicide on U.S. soil.
Mm-hmm.
But it was basically about these cult members, and if you may be familiar with it, but they kind of had this mix of Christianity and science, sci-fi that they were kind of, propagating to all these people. And it was a cult like any other cult. I watch a lot of cult stuff. I don't know why. I'm just interested in that kind of stuff. And it was several episodes, and it's kind of self-contained, and it was very fascinating. Always fascinating in these. Tim, I'm going to highly recommend this for you if you haven't seen it already. The Tiger documentary on HBO Max. Have you seen it?
No, I'm writing it down. The Tiger?
Yeah, it's about Tiger Woods.
Oh, okay.
And it is fantastic. So, The Flight Attendant is here. The Tiger Woods documentary here. The Heaven's Gate is kind of in the middle as far as my thumb rating goes. But Tiger, if you're at all interested in Tiger at all in his story, you should watch it. It is an unauthorized biography. So I should mention that, which is always more fun because they can bring all sorts of stuff in there. It's more truthful, I feel like. But his dad, man, he thought he was going to be like the next Gandhi or something. I mean, he thought he was going to be more than just a golf guy. He had very high visions for his son, and he pushed him hard. And too hard, I would say. But you can make your own determination for that. Watch it. Let me know what you think next live show. Tiger, documentary, HBO Max. YouTube Punk says The Expanse was a slow burn, intense finale, and I have heard about The Expanse. I think it's Prime. I think it's a Prime show, or is it a Netflix? YouTube Punk, you have to help me out. But I've heard about it, heard good things. Haven't watched it. The Lady and the Dale, Tim. Have you heard this one?
No.
This.
I've heard of the book.
This is. You may be thinking a different book. This is a documentary series that's going on now on HBO Max. So it's not all the way out. Only the first 2 episodes are available, and it's about a trans woman that buys a 3-wheel car idea from an inventor in the 70s in California and starts her own motor company.
Okay.
That is what it's about. Okay, so the first 2 episodes are available on HBO Max. It is intensely fascinating. This 3-wheel car that they made actually looks decent, even though the performance was kind of wild. But basically, the whole idea was to make a 3-wheel car that got 70 miles to the gallon based on a motorcycle engine. Because during the late 70s, there was a big gas crisis. You remember this, Tim? So,
I do.
so
Yeah,
this
sorry.
is so basically what she did was she worked for this invention company that helps like inventors patent inventions, and this guy called up and he had a 3-wheel car, and she said, "I'll buy it from you." So she buys the idea, creates a motor company around it, but she used to be a he earlier in the life and was kind of a con artist, and so like the first episode kind of talks about him as a con artist and the transition to her, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And then the second episode's more about her and the car company and how that all goes. So, Wasted Times. We are in East Texas, very close to Tyler. So, if you're wondering where we're at, so yeah, The Lady in the Dale. Check it out. Very fascinating. It's going to be new episodes every Sunday night right now. So, give it a shot. I think it's fascinating. You may think it's weird, but I think it's a well done documentary. Well worth your time. And then, Tim, the other thing I've been watching is WandaVision on Disney Plus, which is the WandaVision sitcom, part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh yeah.
So it's got Scarlet Witch from who's Wanda in this, and it has the actor who plays Vision, which I can't remember his name. It's good. And here's the thing: it's probably good because, Tim, I'm a huge fan of old sitcoms. And this basically parodies all old sitcoms. It has a parody of Dick Van Dyke. It has a parody of I'm trying to think. If you watch, if you're interested in that stuff, you'll recognize a lot of these things. In fact, Dick Van Dyke was a consultant on the show, which is fun. And apparently they had a meeting with him, and he had never heard of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I know sounds crazy, but you got to remember, Dick Van Dyke's like 90-something years old. So he's probably not watching Captain Marvel or Avengers Endgame or anything. So, but pretty cool stuff anyway. And I highly recommend WandaVision if you're a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe at all. It's been fun. Episode 4 is the big reveal. So the first 3 episodes are all kind of sitcom parodies, but episode 4 tells you what's really going on. So you kind of have to wade through a little bit to get there, but it was good. Okay, Tim. We have +1 on WandaVision from Geeklight. YouTube Punk says WandaVision has high production values, but it's a bit slow. That is correct. You'll have to get to episode 4 to figure out what's going on. Okay, just to tell you. So you have to watch the first 4 episodes to get the gist of what's going on. So, but then they explain it all to you, which is awesome. So, Wasted Time says, yeah, I just started being an arcade tech at Cidercade in Houston. Y'all come out sometime. I'll give y'all some cider. Love your videos. Sweet. We'd love to. We are... Eric and Rusty, who do our podcast, Wasted Times, they are part of the ownership group of the Game Preserve. In fact, I have one of their mugs right here. So if you're in the Houston area, I'm sure you're familiar with them. But if you haven't been to the Game Preserve and talked to Eric and Rusty and Joe and all those guys and all the people, all the ownership group of the Game Preserve, you need to meet up with them sometime. They're great guys to hang out with. Man, we have so much fun with them. So. But Cidercade is a cool place. We've already seen it. So I'm glad that you're the tech out there. Hopefully you can keep all those games running, and hopefully you guys will get enough business to help you out. Tim, I got 2 minutes. 2-minute drill. What you got?
I'm about done. I think just keep holding on to some of my stocks. I'll let y'all know how my AMC does if I'm retired next month or not.
There you go. Also, let us know how the genealogy's going. I'm curious there.
Yeah, I do for a fact know already that I had a great grandpa that had 27 children by 2 different women.
Golly, Catholic?
Yeah, no, if you're in North Carolina, I'm related to you. I think they're just bored.
Golly. Well, I can't wait to hear more about that, Tim, in the next after show. I think we're going to leave it on that note. I will remind people, if you want to donate to Louis Memorial Fund, please go to arcaderepairtips.com/donate and make sure you choose Louis Memorial when you hit your donation link. And thank you guys for joining us tonight. We'll see you next month, March 4th, for the next after show. Until then, take care, be safe. Email us at questions@arcaderepairtips.com if you have anything, and we'll see you then. Bye, guys.